It's the rampant professionalism. There was supposed to be another intro video introducing the show. What the hell happened there? OG Knockout Matthews in the house. Big Blue forever. What's going on, guys? We got Eric Butler. Good morning to you. We got the Giants, of course, in the rookie minicamp yesterday. It was interesting to already watch the initial reaction to certain segments of the Giant collective in regards to the beat writers. What's up, Dennis? And like I said, we've already had it. It's not even it wasn't even the beginning of the off season. We already got it. I mean, beginning of the new season, and it's already
stupid giant Twitter post.
Well, this one goes out to Pat Leonard. And I like Pat Leonard, but Pat Leonard's stupid Twitter post was, good luck keeping impressive rookie Jackson Dart on the Giants on the bench. Great balls of fire. The kid just got there. He's literally learning the playbook. He's learning the offense. He's learning the system. He's learning the organization. And we already have the overindulgence of he's going to start week one. He's not here to start week one. That's why you have Russell Wilson. That's why you have a two-time Super Bowl participant, one-time Super Bowl winner, and a former first-round overall pick who I don't agree with Jameis Winston. And this isn't Russell Wilson from 6 years ago, but if it's the same Russell Wilson that has enough in the tank, and I don't know if he does, to move the offense in a different direction, Jackson Dart's never going to see the field. You hope. Yes, Russell Wilson, 2-6 his last 8 games in Pittsburgh, including that terrible playoff loss. I'm going to spill coffee all over the place. That would have been bad. But, give the kid a break. I did enjoy the fact that I don't like number 6. I don't like number 6, and I don't like 51. But, that's what they have. What do I know? What the fuck do I know? I did like the fact that when Jackson Dart went to the press conference, he's got more of a personality than Daniel Jones did. I mean, Jackson Dart literally, before he even spoke to anyone, to the beat writers, he asked them to introduce himself so he could put a name to the face, which I thought was fantastic because you don't see that a lot. He looks to be a lot more media savvy than our old buddy Daniel Jones. What is this? OG says, what is OG says? What I gotta tell you, OG, Tim, brother, I could be wrong, but I think Jackson Dart is going to be a little better than we think. But right now, Jackson Dart shouldn't see the field until next year. I don't know if Jackson Dart's going to be bad. I don't know if he's going to be good. We've said it before, my brother. I hope he's fantastic. I hope he's phenomenal. I hope he's awesome. I hope he is the quarterback of the future. Do I agree with trading back up and grabbing him at 25? No, but I don't make the decisions. Would he have probably gone in the 6th or 7th round if he came out in 2024? Yes. But it's just, I don't know what he's going to be yet. He's playing against the other rookies and another 30 camp hopefuls. These are undrafted free agents who came into the Giant camp, hopefully, and their hope is to get an invite to the mandatory minicamps. That's what they're doing. So, but like I said, I saw one throw on the Giant sphere from Jackson Dart, and I was like, okay. And then people are like, ooh. I was like, okay, that's. How are you judging his entire Giant career off this one throw? The people out there are a lot better at this than I am, because I couldn't judge that. I was like, okay, that's one throw. You need to see him in the game. You need to see him without the shorts on. You need to see him with the pads on. You need to see, it's like the whole Daniel Jones scenario when I kept hearing about ball placement for Daniel Jones, and it's great. He's got wonderful ball placement. But the problem is this: when you have great ball placement and you have no rush and no one in your face, that's great. But you need to expand upon that game time. Listen, you know what I was even thinking? I haven't bought a Giant jersey in 2 years. And I was literally thinking maybe I will buy one this year. But who should I get? I got to answer this text. Hold on. All right, hold on. I don't know which one I should get, but I'm going to probably get one. Make sure you hit the like button. But it's this. You cannot judge it. Like I said, it was nice to see also Abdul Carter actually on the field. Like I said, he's been still. I don't know if he's still hampered by either the foot or the shoulder, but he did participate, so that was great. He looked like a rookie doing rookie drills. Same with Cam Scattaboo. I think Cam Scattaboo is going to be that I've said it before. To me, Cam Scattaboo is that two down bowling ball back that's going to go along with Tyrone Tracy. Cam can catch the ball out of the backfield, but we also need to remember he didn't run at the combine. He didn't run his pro day. He only ran at private workouts, and he ran anywhere between a 4.6 and a 4.7. So is that going to be enough to second gear to get much of a rush or much of a run once he hits the second level? Probably not. Is he going to be more Wayne Gallman esque? Probably. But is he also going to be used to soften the defense so you can get a big hit with Tyrone Tracy? Probably. I think that's probably what it's going to be. I love this guy. I love the oh geez, Zach Attack. How was the X Space yesterday? Missed it yesterday since I was with my girlfriend. Oh, Zach and his girlfriend. I don't should I talk about the X Space now? Because there's not really a lot to talk about. Um I was and I love it because people were texting me yesterday, where's the rebroadcast? I wasn't in guys, I wasn't in control of it. I didn't do it. That was run by Believe, the greatest sports network that there is. Go to Believe right now, and I believe you will find a great show called New York Giants Straight Talk on the Believe Network. Also, you'll find Believe in Giants, who hosted the Twitter space yesterday with Carl Banks and Bob Papa. I actually received an invitation to be on the show from Carl Banks vis-a-vis X. I think after some people prodded him, but there is no rebroadcast. Carl Banks actually says something nice about me, and there's no rebroadcast. So it didn't really happen, did it? We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But I want to continue. I love OG Knock. I said, Tim, you notice I said a little better. I want to just continue talking about, like I said, the rookie minicamp. It continues today. You had 3 guys sign their rookie deals yesterday. So we're still going to have to wait and see with the bigger names of the first with Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart. I'm like I said, I'm not buying any Giant jersey yet because I don't think these numbers are the numbers. I don't think that he's gonna stay with 6. I already said it. If I'm Jackson Dart, I want 13, baby. That's what I want.
Yes.
Drop some cash, drop some ducats, and go out and get it.
I keep the ladies screaming and all my fans got screaming. You get to feed me, you're dreaming.
Of course, flex your chest, get metrics. But I would go with 13. That's just me. I would make a phone call to a certain wide receiver and say, I need that number. I need a number. And 51, I don't like 51 either. But you know what? It's gonna, and then I think about it with 51, who was a great 51? Think about it, because does everyone want to pause for a minute? Who was a great 51? One of the greatest linebackers in the history of this sport. That's right, Dick Butkus. Dick Butkus was 51. So you know what? Maybe now I'm kind of liking 51. Maybe I am liking 51 now. Let me get to a couple more of these things, and then we'll talk a little bit more here. Matthew says that Leonard Post is the biggest problem. Mara needs to stay out. Dart needs to sit 18 weeks in the tape room. I don't know if he needs to sit 18 weeks. I can't tell you if Jackson Dart could pull a Russell Wilson. Jackson Dart can pull one of these rookie quarterbacks that surprises everyone. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but he could do it. Because right now we have no data on Jackson Dart. We have no data on Jackson Dart whatsoever. We have a handful of passes. Brian Dable seems excited. And you know what other people have to stop with? How to put this politically correct. If I pause for a dramatic say soar, I love Randy Johnson. It has to be politically correct. But You know what? I'm going to leave that thought alone. I'm gonna, I'm gonna leave that thought. I'm gonna leave that thought alone for a few minutes. But like I said, it is what it is. We just have to get. I'm gonna get to it. Okay, there's the video of Brian Dable being happy. Being happy, being excited to be back there. And then certain people are like, "Well, what is he so excited about? This is a 3-14 team." No, you were a 3-14 team last year. It's May of 2025. You're 0-0. You're 0-0. You're undefeated this year. So if there are some people that want to have some fun and some enjoyment, and like I said, as a former collegiate player, even on bad teams, when you got back to spring practice, when you got into summer practice, you were excited. You were happy to be there. It was this moment of fun and glee. So you're allowed to. You're allowed to have a little excitement. I don't see anything wrong with it.
What's that?
My icy heart. It's melting.
Oh, that's not that. Someone said that to me yesterday. Tim, your icy heart is melting. No, that's not melting. My icy heart is not melting whatsoever. But like I said, it's the start of the season. Give these guys a break. My 2 cents says, they're hoping Garrett's leadership as if he's done something. I agree. He hasn't done anything yet. But like I said, it was just, it was good to see him be a little bit more media savvy. And a little bit more, in some ways, I think a little bit more approachable. Maybe is that I don't know. Maybe that's a word. I know that's a word. I've heard that word before. Yeah, I do have a college education. Tim's smart. Said that before. Tim's smart. Tim not only football player. Tim was smart. Not anymore. I banged my head too many times. But he was more. I don't know. He just seemed to have more of this personality. Daniel Jones. You had the Eli Manning, especially early in his career in 2004, going up to even 2007. He kind of had that all shucks persona. And that all shucks persona was just, it did not translate well to some in the locker room, did not translate to some in the media. But he came through that, and he became a giant leader and a giant great, and soon to be hopefully Hall of Famer. But Jackson Dart, to me, I'm not saying he's more media savvy early on than Eli Manning, but it was nice, like I said, to see him ask, hey, please introduce yourself and what paper you report from, so I can put a name to the face. Like I said, sometimes it's the little things. Sometimes it's the little things in life. Eric says, I saw a video in my recommendation that Dart and Carter were killing it in the rookie mini camp. Like, duh. So the undrafted free agents, I think, would be insurance with no contact. I mean, you know what? And that's the funny thing. With Brian Dable dancing, people are mad at that, but people aren't upset with the fact that these guys are killing it against the Cone team and undrafted rookie free agents. Okay. And Matthew says, I think he will be good too. They need to develop him, and Merritt needs to be patient. Everyone needs to be patient. Everyone needs to be patient with Jackson Dart. You can agree with the pick. You can disagree with the pick, but you got to be patient with the kid. And that's it. I mean, he's more than likely going to go through his growing pains. He's going to have his issues. He's going to make boneheaded plays. Anyone that remembers Eli Manning, he made boneheaded plays. You go back to Phil Simms in 79. He made boneheaded plays. Phil Simms still made boneheaded plays when he was the first Giant to throw for 4,000 yards in 84. You're going to have these issues. You're going to have these problems. You got to grow through them. I still love that. Notice I said a little bit better. I'll talk about the X Base in a minute again. Eric Butler says, I figured out what Jackson Dart is. He's Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter. Someone else said that too. I think, Eric, you said that last stream. Matthew says, he looks like Phil Simms from the 80s. Can you unsee it? Phil Simms from the 1980s, to me, and one of his nicknames, and people aren't gonna remember this besides this older people. One of Phil Simms' nicknames in the 80s was Prince Valiant. And I love it because he had this hair. He had this look. He looked he looked like Prince Valiant. He really did. He had the bad haircut, but he had the good but bad 70s haircut. And do I think he looks like Phil Simms? I don't think he looks like Phil Simms. I can't say that. Phil Simms, like I said, Phil Simms is literally my first quarterback, my first Giant quarterback. I know Craig Morton was I know Craig Morton was the quarterback that I first watched in '76 when we got walloped. That we didn't get walloped when we got beat that home opener in Dallas when they opened up the Meadowlands. But Phil Simms was really like my first guy. And here you go. Here's Prince Valiant Simms. Does he look like Jackson Dart? See, here's the problem, though. I said that I went to the rookie symposium a couple of years ago, and I said that, and I said it in the symposium that I said that JMS looks like Bart Oates, because JMS to me does look like Bart Oates. And go Google Bart Oates' picture, because I can't find it. I'm not that adept, but he does look like Bart Oates. So do I think he looks like Phil Simms? No, not really. But like I said, 79 Phil Simms was also referred to as Prince Valiant. So are we going to have Prince Valiant Jr.? Hope to God not. Jackson, also, you know what? I would like to see Jackson Dart be 79 Phil Simms. 79 Phil Simms came in and played well enough to be second in the Offensive Rookie of the Year category. He lost out, little known fact, to O.J. Anderson. Let's see here. That's the problem. Michael, even when he shouldn't have started him, started Jones. Yeah, start Jameis. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I love this. Talk about Carl Banks. All right, Carl Banks. There we go. Matthew says, I see Steve Irwin, a little younger Elway, still have to revisit with Phil Simms in my mind. We're gonna play it again. There you go. There's 79 Prince Valiant Phil Simms. I still have my Prince Valiant Phil Simms autograph from 79. Yes, I am old. Let's see here. Let's give him something to talk about. Let's talk of Knicks. Let's go, Knicks, go. James Williams says, make sure you hit that like button. Matthew says, that's what I first thought when I saw him. He looks like a young Phil Simms. All right. Well, okay, we're going Prince Valiant. We're going young Phil Simms. Make sure you hit the like button. Happy Mother's Day, says James to everyone, the special ladies. That's why we're doing to the show today. We never do a Saturday show. We always draw a good crowd on Sunday. We never do a Saturday show because, well, Saturday's Mother's Day. So I'm drinking my Black Rifle. Salute to Matty Ice. We got Big Zach attacking, and then James, my dude. What else we got here? Douglas says Dable must have really hated Jones since he looked so happy. I got no problem with someone being happy. I got no problem with someone dancing. Like I said, as a former player, I can tell you, you get back into the pads and the helmet after being 4 or 5 months off, you get happy. You get excited to be there. You finally get to hit somebody again. You don't have to study then. Matthew says Dable is a totally different person. Well, can we find, not to be mean, but can he channel a little bit more of the fat Brian Dable to come back? Because that was the coach of the year. This Brian Dable right now, this Brian Dable right now has me yearning for Mike Kafka. Let's go, Knicks, go. Big Knicks tonight. Not even tonight, 3:30. Man, I'm going out. Can't tell you what I'm doing just in case the wife is watching. Going out at 4 o'clock. Of course, the Knicks game is on at 3:30. Do you think maybe the earbuds and the iPhone's going to be on? I don't know. Strider! I'm sorry. Put the needle on the record. Sorry. Hold on. Wait.
Hold on.
Wait, there we go. Slider, call the ball. Let's see here. James says, I'm getting a Corey Black jersey when he blows up. I remember that first. What do we got here? JK Gaming says, Double Agent 0, Carter 51 isn't that bad, though. Yeah, it just dawned on me with Abdul Carter 51. Dick Butkus. Sam Mills, too. Sam Mills, I believe, was 51. Greatest fucking linebacker ever. One of the greatest linebackers in history of the NFL, Dick Butkus. I could deal with 51 now. I didn't like it in like a minute ago, but now I can deal 51. Salute my brother synergies. Like Slider, you gotta go. Slider, call the ball. Slider has the ball. Zach says, I need Jackson though to go through darts. Randy Johnson was 51. That's another good 51. Different sport, but he was 51. Was he 51 with the Yankees? Top Gun crew is here. Viper's here. We got Jester somewhere. Oh, no, we never picked a Jester. T-Brad, I don't see Black Ice. Your James is Maverick. Let's see. Matthew says, I just don't want Dart to be Zach Wilson. I don't understand this thing with he's from Utah. He's from Utah. He's not going to be good. Like, there's something in the water in Utah? Yeah, I know they got Mormons there. I don't know anything about Mormons. No, I don't think there's ever a Mormon I don't met that I didn't like. I don't even know who I met him. I don't know if I met a Mormon. But I don't understand that with people. He's from Utah. Does Utah suck? I've never been to Utah. So I don't know. I'm just asking for a friend. Ask me, what's up, my brother? Stream says, I'm not leaving my wingman. Yeah, and then you went through the jet wash. And then you killed Goose. And it went all downhill from there. Dennis says, I don't think Dart has what it takes, but his slate is clean and he has a good opportunity as any quarterback. Let's go. Let's go, Mets. Go. I got the dream work. I don't know. I mean, is he going to win one of these? I don't know. No, I don't really just wear it around. I found it on the desk. But people are like, well, you have to hate on him. I can't hate on the kid yet. I can't, because there's nothing to hate on. And I never hated on Daniel Jones. I did that video directly after the 19 season, listed all the things that Daniel Jones needed to work on. And I was told I was mean, I was a hater, I didn't understand football. And then 4.5 years later, all those things that I listed, he still hadn't done, and he was no longer on the team. Davey says, Tim, Randy Johnson wasn't a giant quarterback during the 70s? Actually, there was a Randy Johnson as a quarterback. Good call. Zach says, Joe Shane, did you see the confidence about the trade with Houston and didn't not seem confident in the Dart pick? If Dart falls, he will blame Dable. Listen, if we've seen this before, Zach, the modus operandi of the Giants the last 20 years. First, you blame a position coach like a Mark Colombo. Then you blame a coordinator. And then after you fire the coordinator, not looking at you, Jason Garrett, then you fire the head coach. Then you fire the general manager. That's how the Giants have done it. I mean, I can't Strider time the buzz tower.
Sorry, Ghost Rider, the pattern is full.
Let's see here. James says, I love how Shane knew the Jags were trading with Cleveland weeks before the draft, but he didn't know our division rival wanted Saquon Barkley. Because who was gonna pay Saquon Barkley? Still the greatest line ever. Anyone with cap space? Hey, what's up, Dennis? Hey, football is played by 22 men with a college education fighting over a ball. Yeah. I don't know. I might be missing that one, Dennis. That might I play football in college and have a college education, so that one actually went over my head. Okay, but you can explain it later. Matthew says, and at least he didn't have deer in the headlights look. Well, because there was no rush. Asmi said, the kid sounds like a real leader to me. We shall see. That's what I'm saying. He could be a leader. I don't know. Is he a leader? Could be. Hold on, another text message. I'm supposed to do a commercial today for Believe, for someone I signed on to do a commercial for, but I can't find the copy, and I'm looking for the copy. I'm looking for the copy for the commercial I'm supposed to read. We're just gonna have to do that. We're just gonna have to do that on the next video. I don't have the copy, and I don't know if I sent the copy to myself. It's professionalism at its finest. I know. That's why Believe has it. That's why Believe believes in me so much that I can't find the copy. Oh, you know what? I may have it. Hold on. I may have emailed it to myself. Did I email it to myself? We got to see if I emailed myself the copy. Oh, Oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Wait. We have the copy. We have the copy for the new partner. It's just, I know, guys. It's professionalism here at its finest. I don't know if I'm going to read this yet. Hold on. Let's save it as a PDF. Everyone just mind your own business for a minute. Okay. It's a good thing though. I mean, it's a good thing though. It's a good thing. Should I just read the copy? I can just read. I was gonna. They said I should use some of my flair and panache for this copy, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm in the mood to read a copy. James says we have to give Dart a fair chance. We do. Yeah, we do. Oh my God. See, like I said, James, it's even James Williams. It's you know it.
What's that?
My icy heart. It's melting.
Even James Williams. But then I always love it because there's another favorite part of that clip that I just love.
Yes. Suddenly, my whole outlook has changed from bad to good.
Great.
But will it last? I really am a mean and despicable creature at heart, you know.
That's the cult members. Phil Simms is my favorite bonehead quarterback. I do love Phil Simms. Let's see here. James Williams says he better throw darts with a name like that. Oh, we got another from Zach. Sims got in Ronnie Lott's face in that San Francisco game. That was also the big Bavaro catch where he carried 497 players of the 49ers on that Monday night game. Big Mark, what's up, Big Mark? How you doing, my brother? Douglas says I like Dart's energy. He doesn't act like a robot. He doesn't. I mean, what do people want me to? I mean, so many people want me to just go off on Jackson Dart. I can't. Literally can't yet. Let him do something. If he does something, then we'll do what we need to do. Ask Me says Dart looks more like a Logan brother than Phil Simms. Which does he look like, Paul Logan more? Davey says like I said, I don't know if Dart will pan out, but he looks like a guy who is going to work hard. You don't know. You literally don't know because I worked hard, but I also didn't have talent. So I mean, it's the same. It's Bernie Williams. Bernie Williams is another good one. That's another good one. 51. What about Brian Burns? Baby Burns, 51, baby. You know it, guys. Giants Mung is going to talk about Carl Banks. Okay, Carl Banks. All right, real quick. Did the Believe Network or Believe in Giants did a show last night? I don't remember what time. I think it was 8:00 last night. And I guess some people bugged Carl Banks about asking if I could come on. And Carl Banks actually posted on Twitter, okay, do you want to come on? I said, sure. I always want to come on. I debated whether I should go on or not. But I went on, and it was an hour long. And, Carl Banks actually, I wasn't saying anything, because, I'm like a sniper, man. I lay in the weeds. That, and I was tired, and I was drinking, and I didn't really want to. But at the end of the day, Carl Banks actually had me come on, said that he wanted to hear my opinion, and said that he watches the things that we have interesting videos and all that stuff. So then I was like, okay, So then I spoke, and then, it was everything was great. I don't know what, again, I don't know what people want me to talk about. everything came out fine. No punches were thrown, no things were happening. I brought up the fact that they talked about the Colts game, and I brought up the fact that there was 14 missed tackles and 8 plays that were extended due to those missed tackles and just stuff like that. And I brought up the fact, and he actually acknowledged that. I was very surprised yesterday and the level-headedness and the validity of the arguments on Carl Banks's end. I was actually very surprised about that because you hear him on the radio, but when he even started talking about the fact that, we could all have a different tone in November, that this team could, just be what they were last year. And in November, we could be talking about a different story. And he was basically saying the same thing. He even at one point even said, where some people are judging this, these people off of the rookie minicamp and the fact that there's 30 undrafted free agents that are trying to get an invite to the mandatory minicamps. So I mean, that was it. I think that's I think it's enough. Do I have to ask that to say anything? Do I have to say anything else? Well, I think that's fine. So that was that. It's all good. Matthew says, I'm super excited for Scattaboo Tracy combo being the Brandon Jacobs Bradshaw vibe in a little different way, but the combo of backs. Bradshaw, Adam Marshall, especially in that rookie year, had that second gear. Had the second gear. Brandon Jacobs, for a big back, for a big guy, he had that second gear. Once you got him into the second level, especially with Brandon Jacobs, you knew he was going to motor forward. And I thought that was I think that's great. I think that's exactly what you want. But the problem is this, and I've said it before with Cam Scattaboo, can you continue to think that he, even looking at his track record in college, that he is going to have the ability to outrun some of these defenders? And I got to tell you, no, I don't think he's going to have that ability. But at this point in time, I'm like, okay, yeah, we have to give him an opportunity. But calling him thunder and lightning, yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. I mean, so not yet. Not yet. What is someone texting me? Oh my goodness gracious. Hold on, people. Hold on. Let's give them something to talk about. You know when I'm clicking something, I'm clicking something good. Because I'm clicking something good here, guys. Import selected. Someone just sent me this and they asked me to put this up. Crazy shit, man. Crazy shit, different day. All right, hold on, guys. We're doing, my producer here is we're doing a lot of stuff that's professional. We're very professional on this channel. Everyone knows that. That's why the Believe Network said we need this guy to be on our network. It's his air of not only confidence, but it is his true air of professionalism.
I agree. It's completely unprofessional, Dick.
Lou, can I ask you to please put out your cigarette?
No, I like to smoke when I drink.
Oh, Dennis, what is my James Williams? Dennis, not all football players are educated. Most don't even watch game films. Lol Strider says, Tim, send me a link, and Carter talks about ghost moves. Not sure if you saw it. No, I did not see it. All right, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Maybe James and everyone's out visiting. It's Mother's Day in the UK. I don't know. Is it Mother's Day in the UK? I don't think it is. I think they have a different day for Mother's Day. I think it's called Hot Apple Pie Day. I don't know where Dom is. If I knew where Dom was, I would ask him about it. I'd ask him about when Mother's Day is. Let's see here. Delete that overlay. We're going to put this overlay in. We're going to put this overlay in because I have to do this because someone just sent me this and asked me to do it. So you know that we always do requests off Broadway. What's up, off Broadway? Good day, Tim. Good day, Jones. I always love the fact that it didn't dawn on me until the last Sunday stream. It didn't dawn on me that when the Giants had their town hall on Broadway, and I went out and asked my question and I got booed, I actually got booed on Broadway. How many people, there's a lot of things I could say in my life that I've done, but how many people can say they got booed on Broadway? Think about that one, guys. Mr. Taz says, George Pickens is absolutely going to swing on Giant players if they pick him off. You look at the division, and you look at what other teams have done to improve, and most of these teams, and I even count the Cowboys in this, are playoff caliber teams. So, I mean, have the Giants done enough between Holland and Paulson Adebo? And I'm still leery. I'm still leery about the Banks, about the Shane Bowen situation. We've talked about this a lot. We talked about the Shane Bowen situation quite a bit. Is he the right fit as a defensive? Someone posted on Twitter, Tim, a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best and 1 being the worst. What was my level of confidence in Shane Bowen? I wrote negative 47.5. Because if you go back to his body of work, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, we're not going to get into it again. You go back and look at his body of work, going back to Tennessee when that first year he was the quasi defensive coordinator and they went 11-5, but they had one of the worst secondaries in the league. And then the following 2 years, they brought in Jim Schwartz to be his mentor. May the Schwartz be with you. And what happened was Jim Schwartz, it just didn't pan out. Literally just didn't pan out. Well, not Jim Schwartz. I should rephrase. I was reading something. When they brought Jim Schwartz in, the secondary got better for 2 years. And Jim Schwartz even said in the Daily Tennessean when he left to take the job in Cleveland that his sole job that Mike Vrabel brought him in to do was to be another set of eyes for Shane Bowen and to be a mentor. You got to think about that for a second. They brought a guy in to help mentor their defensive coordinator for 2 seasons before he took the job at Cleveland. His secondaries improved those 2 seasons, but then when Schwartz took the job in Cleveland, the secondary dropped off again. So Shane Bowen, for his bend nod break, I'm going to rush 4. I only go 25, I blitz 20% of the time, and I have this bend nod break defense with the allocated players that you currently have on this giant roster. It seemed to be a more fitting fit if you have a person like Wink or Steve Wilkes or someone such as that, then Shane Bowen. So is Shane Bowen going to adjust to the talent? I think he adjusted to the talent the first couple weeks of the Giants season when the Giants led the league in sacks. I think he tried to do some different things, but then the league's kind of figured out. And I don't think there was a readjustment after that. So the question is, can he make that adjustment? Can he turn around and make a different direction with he has, because he has got an undersized front 4, Shane Bowen does, outside of Dexter Lawrence, because Alexander, like I said, I like Alexander because I think he's going to be more of a pass rusher. He did not get that stout Jonathan Hankins, Jim Burt, Dalvin Tomlinson type player to be the running mate with Dexter Lawrence. You got another undersized 300-pound defensive tackle that's going to be more of a pass rusher. Even Joe Shane came out and said, we like his athleticism and his pass rushing ability. He said this in one of his interviews. So you're still going to have an undersized defensive line going up against some pretty stout and large offensive lines within your own division. So is Shane going to be able to take these guys? Because I still do. Listen, I think Abdul Carter is going to be an impact type player. I already said he's going to be an impact type player with the pass rush. I don't think he's going to be an off the ball linebacker. I know they want to move him in 5 different positions and all this to play this, but I keep thinking about this one statistic from his second season at Penn State. And that was his second season as an off-the-ball linebacker when he barely had 40 tackles. It was 25.7%. I'll say that again. There is the statistic for Abdul Carter, his second season at Penn State as an off-the-ball linebacker. That statistic is 25.7%. That is his miss tackle percentage. James, where are you?
James, Maverick, where are you?
Maverick? Your body's running. Your body's running checks. And what is it? I don't know. Your ego's running checks your body can't cash. Cougar lost it. Turned in his wings. Now you're number 1. But can he literally take these pieces? Everyone goes back to NASCAR, and I keep seeing this. We've talked about this. NASCAR. This is not a NASCAR style defense. The NASCAR defense that was brought in by Perry Fuel had larger men on the defensive ends who could play the run. You had 2 defensive tackles in Matthias Kiwanuka and Jason Pierre-Paul who had 80-plus tackles as true defensive ends. Because you ran more of that 4-3 style defense, and you still had capable enough linebackers, even though a couple of them were rookies, that understood that these guys up front are going to slow down that rushing attack, the running attack, and still be able to go after the passer. And one of the biggest things they didn't do back on that 2011 team is they didn't over pursue. Talked about it before, especially with NASCAR. I remember in Albany, when the training camp was up in Albany, they were yelling NASCAR in Albany. And sometimes you were looking around going, what the fuck are they talking about? NASCAR. This isn't NASCAR. Did I go to the wrong place? No, but that's what they did. That's what Perryfield was doing. They were already instituting it. Again, that first game against Carolina Panthers, I believe, in that season, they kind of displayed the NASCAR defense, but they had been working on it in Albany. I miss Albany. I used to love going up to training camp for like 2 weeks, and then I would stay in Troy, New York, which was a hop, skip, and a jump away from where the Giants were training. And there's a great like extended, I think it's a Marriott extended suites, and we would get 2 adjoining suites, and we'd stay there for like a week, and we'd go to the daytime practices, we'd go to the nighttime practices, we would do all this. But is he going to have that capability? Oh, we got us a big super sticker from the Don. Well, the big Don. Don sent me the funniest thing ever. He sent me a picture of wine all over the floor at a liquor store. And of course, I asked Big Don, I said, did you do that? Was that you? James Williams says, saying professional athletes is going to work hard is like saying a dog will bark. This isn't what they're supposed to do. Lol. Yeah, this is what they're supposed to do. I have to wait for people to get set up here because he's got the ball.
Maverick, call the ball.
All right, he's getting it ready. He's already there. Davey, we're gonna get to you in a minute. I just saw you pop in as well. I see the Let's Go Mets Go hat from my brother from another mother, James Williams, coming in strong. You got volume today? You gonna say
you
there
hear me?
you are. There now, we can hear
Hear me
you.
now? You hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me now? You hear me now? Greatest commercial ever.
I have to warn you now. I have started pre-game drinking for the Knicks game.
So I got my coffee here.
This is not coffee.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was. Oh, James, I got it. Someone keeps asking me this, but I got James on now, so we'll have to put this up real quick for James as well, because this made me laugh today, and I sent it to you already.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what it says here. There is a rebroadcast Bob and Carl. Any chance to make an appearance on Online Big Blue YouTube? Would love to hear from the three of you. Get together. That can and will happen at some point when the preseason starts, if he has me on. Somebody asked me if he did come on, if Baby Carl would make an appearance.
It's too early for Baby Carl.
I was like, I don't know if Baby Carl Jr. I don't know if he's
guys.
ready.
Listen,
I don't know if he's ready for Baby Carl.
Listen, as one of the
original cult members,
program managers in the cult, I have to say we have to protect our leader. Stop bringing up the private jokes when Carl comes around. All right. Leave those in the temple.
Here's the worst part. I don't know if he was lying or telling the truth, but he goes, "Yeah, I've been watching some of his videos, and they're interesting and informative from a different perspective." I was like, "Which one did you watch?" It's like I need to know.
You know what that means? You know what that means when he says they were informative and introspective from a different perspective? That means I would never say none of that crap, and I don't really agree with it. But you know what? We got to take both sides of the coin.
You know what it means? You know what it really means? The Believe Network said, "Hey, listen, you guys are on the same network, and he's got really good numbers now."
They said we got to pay attention to this guy.
And I do have to give a big shout out to the Believe Network. They sent me.
Yeah.
I was sharing the emails with James. They sent me some really nice emails about the growth of the podcast on the Believe Network. We are. I don't know what you would call it. I'm not saying we're going mainstream, but I don't know.
You're just trying a different lane. That's all.
More people, more dumb people are watching the show. So I think that's
it's okay, man.
Are downloading the podcast.
It's a good thing.
I think LeVar Arrington made more plays as well. What is 51? I like LeVar Arrington. Oh,
I did too, but he was banged up.
He was banged up. I told this story, and I just talked about Albany. There was, because back in Albany, when you went to the training camp, they had day practice and they had a night practice. And you could go, there was like this, anyone who's been to Albany understands, there was like this 3-foot high fence that was like between you and the players. Now, I'm over 6 feet. So sitting in at this 3-foot high fence, it's kind of weird, especially when you see these guys coming out. And when the players would come out, you could literally talk to them as they left the practice field. And I got into an in-depth conversation with LeVar Arrington one night, and I'm laughing because I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him, and I look down, like 20 minutes went by, And then at one point in time, I'm looking down, going, "This motherfucker's got to be a magician," because I'm holding his helmet. And I don't ever remember him giving me his helmet, but I guess at one point in time he said he was tired and he gave me his helmet.
He said, "Hold this, sucker."
He did. And I'm like a moron. I'm like, okay. I was like, and even the guy I was with going, you're kind of like LeVar Arrington's bitch. You're sitting there holding his helmet for 20 minutes and didn't even say anything. Just another day.
Hey man, he said, "You want me to talk to you for a minute? Hold this sweaty helmet for a minute. Thanks."
That's kind of what it was like, and I'm like, okay, I usually don't do stuff like that, but James, I'm going to bring Davey in for a quick second because I want to talk to James because I also want to talk to Snakes. Davey, you got a point of view today? Because you're sitting there looking all Rico Suave.
Yeah, well,
What up,
all I want to know is I want the Knicks have to win the series. Period. Knicks have to beat the Celtics this series.
Well, James and I were talking about it yesterday that the Knicks have to win 2 out of 4. Technically, you have to win 2 out of 4. So if you can't win 2 out of these 4 games, you don't deserve to be in the to be in the conference championship.
Word.
And James, do I see a Metcalf, the person that kidnapped my best player to Queens?
Other side.
Oh, David, you're a Yankee fan? Oh, brother. Oh, brother.
We're sorry about that. You're sorry.
Hey, you still got the Judge, baby.
You still got the Judge or not?
I do.
But
But I have to hear it from my coworker who is a Met fan how they got Soto.
It's all right. Yo, Max Fried is pitching good for y'all, man.
They gave him more money.
I know.
That's how they got him.
You kidnapped him. You kidnapped him.
We kidnapped him with a couple more Benjamins. It wasn't really that much of a heist.
All right, I don't want to talk about Juan Soto. I don't want to talk about the Yankees. This is. You want to talk about the Giants? You want to talk about the?
I want to talk about the Giants.
All right, talk about the
tell
Giants. You got a minute because I got other people that got to jump on.
I'm going to tell you this.
Okay.
I see Jackson Dart is going to be he's not going to be a Daniel Jones. He is going to be a hard worker.
Okay.
The guy is going to find out how to play. That's all I can tell you about it.
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
Sorry. Listen, the evil hasn't. Just because I went mainstream, the evil hasn't left. I like I said to everyone.
Just remember, I work for the evil empire. I'm an evil empire fan.
It's 2 hours into day 1 with Jackson Dart. It's literally 2 hours into day 1. Yeah. And then Pat Leonard's anointing him that it's going to be tough to keep him off the field. It's 2 hours into day 1. Let the poor kid figure out where the fucking bathroom is. Because if you've ever been inside the Giant facility, you know James has been in the back in the bowels of Giant Stadium. You got to walk around a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a lot of walking involved.
He doesn't need to find
the offices. Let him find the bathroom. Let him find the meeting rooms. He
doesn't need a bathroom. He's wearing diapers.
Let's in some ways he is. In an NFL perspective, Jackson Dart is wearing diapers. So let's let the kid grow into, his let him grow into his Huggies.
Can I ask you a question?
No.
Can I ask you a question? Which Patriot running back used to just come and just have receptions? Do you remember him? Because that's what
the Patriot running back.
Yeah.
You mean the guy that we took from the Patriots that came here and did nothing? That's a small guy. No, Shane Vereen.
Shane Vereen. I would thank you, James. That was you pulled that one out of your ass. I was thinking.
Derek Carr just announced his retirement.
Was he even playing?
I'm just saying. It just popped up on my screen. I'm giving Believe Network instant news.
All right. So this is another thing I saw.
Stupid Giant Twitter post.
Well, this was from Fireside Giants, where they said that when Jackson Dart works out, we are going to trade Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is like, I'm happy I got $1 million. Now he is going to somehow have trade value. Do you think
if someone gives me a first round pick, I would do it?
No one's giving James. No one's giving a first round pick for Jameis Winston.
That's why.
You're gonna give him some. You're gonna give him some crawdads and some other things, but then you're gonna go down there. You're not gonna
Davey, the three of us have a better chance of getting a first round pick for the three of us over Jameis Winston.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I would say no.
Listen, I'm worth at least a second round pick. You guys will take me down to a negative. I'm still working on the mighty. I'm still working on the NIL deal with the mighty Furman.
Yeah.
The NIL deal.
See, that's what I would say. Instead of saying no, give me a first round pick.
No, because no one's giving you a first round pick. Davey, I got to drop you off real quick. So I want to bring someone else on, but thank you always for coming on. It's the big Davey. I want to call.
We have to call the ball. Slider, you have the ball.
Time to buzz it out.
Tim?
What's up?
What
What's
up,
up,
Tim?
Slider?
What up?
So Derek Carr just retired. We got breaking Believe Network news that the Derek Carr just retired. Who is going to be the Saints quarterback? Is it going to be Spencer Rattler?
They have no choice unless it's someone else.
Well, maybe they should have drafted Sanders.
Yeah. Well, he went to the Browns.
Just saying.
Just throwing that out there. So what is your first impressions of the first day? And yesterday was day one of the Giants rookie minicamp.
All I can say is, look, they seem like they're good. They're great kids, man, but I'm going to give them time to grow, like what James keeps saying. Like, just give these kids time. Like, I know there's concern about certain games, like with Dart and Carter, but that's why our coaches have to develop them properly.
I have less of a concern with Carter because if he can do nothing else, he can be used as a mismatch with his speed to be an impact player going after the quarterback. If he is literally a NASCAR package-esque player, I think he could do that immediately. I think he can come in and immediately, make that impact. But the problem is this is what I'm still having a hard time dealing with. You brought in Jameis Winston, you brought in Russell Wilson, you traded a second, a third, and a fifth, a second and 2/3. And yes, it was the lesser of the 2/3 this year, but it was a third for next year to get Jackson Dart. And he is not going to go see the field when you have a head coach and GM who technically, even the Birds agree with me, who technically are both on the hot seat. So, and even Carl Banks said yesterday, we're talking about it being all happy now, but all that could change by November. Let's say it all changes in November and you fire the head coach. Are we then going to turn around and tell the next head coach like we did with Daniel Jones? Can you make Jackson Dart into an NFL quarterback? I'm not blaming the kid for being drafted. I'm blaming the circumstance and the situation that he is put in, because if we're being honest, if he came out in the 2024 draft, he probably would have went in the 6th round.
Yeah, he is. Plus, I think if this thing doesn't work out, I think you said it or somebody said it, they're gonna get fired by Halloween. How about that?
Right. And that's when, and listen, I understand the general manager can't go with the edict that I may get myself fired, but I still have to improve this team for the future. But you haven't really done that for 3 years.
Exactly.
Because, people say I'm a genius, but who can scrub 5 and 7?
Don't forget, Daniel Jones is the future.
Daniel Jones
said that.
This is the year of Daniel.
Daniel Jones, yeah.
Who is going to pay all that money for Saquon Barkley?
A team that has money.
Our division rival.
Coach Hayward Bay. Yes, Jackson Dart would have been a 5th or 6th round pick last year with the way he played. Yes. With the competition that came out, who would you have taken that was drafted last year over Jackson Dart in the 5th, 6th round? Who would you have taken?
None.
You want to come in here and drop some news, give me some knowledge. Don't just come in to make a broad statement. I mean, that's not what we do here. I'm not going to stop shit. So, oh God, Evil Tim's coming out already.
No, stop. Relax. It's Saturday. Stop.
When you mentioned that, I know like the last year's draft, like I think Cam Ward could have gone around the 3rd round too.
Cam Ward last year. Now, remember, look at what they did statistically that prior year compared to that. Cam Ward came out last year as a second-round pick.
I was gonna say he would at least win second round. He's not getting.
Second round
Yeah,
pick.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah,
Second
yeah,
round
yeah.
pick. Shador Sanders last year in this draft. The only picks that went in the first round that I would not have taken over Shador Sanders probably would have been Drake May.
Yeah.
So I would probably say Shador Sanders would have been a second round pick.
Even and I know he played good once he got to the league, but would Bo Nix have beaten out Cam Ward if Cam Ward came out last year?
If you take a look at what they both had done statistically that season and what they both had in reference to the attributes and the fit for the team, no, I think Bo Nix still would have went to Denver. And I was not even a Bo Nix fan because I think Bo Nix is still a more athletic Daniel Jones. But he fits extremely well in the Sean Payton system, just like Daniel Jones fit extremely well in the Pat Shurmur offense.
Yes. Eliminate half the field.
I'm gonna say something that's controversial.
Oh God.
I'm more worried about Carter than Dart.
Why are you more worried about Carter?
Because number one, I'm not gonna really see Dart for a year if things go the way they hope. So I'm not gonna have any idea if that kid can play. And Carter is brought in with the high pick that he was and everybody talking about him the way that they did. He is brought in to change life. So he has to come in and change life. We did not draft Carter to come in to be a plug-in piece or to add to the NASCAR package. He has to be the Gordon of the NASCAR package. Like, he has to be the front runner. He has to come in and be better than Burns and Kayvon within like 8 games. Because you don't draft a kid that high. The kid comes out and says, I want to be Lawrence Taylor. No, then I want to be Phil Simms and all this hoopla. Meanwhile, I haven't seen him do a push-up. And again, this is just me personally. Well, I haven't seen him do it.
He did run drills yesterday.
Oh, he ran some laps. Okay.
No. He did run some drills.
Oh, in the mini camp, he ran some drills.
He actually looked. I mean, I can't tell you how he looked because of the fact that he's just wearing a helmet and the practice.
Right.
But he did run. He did run through the pads. He ran around the.
Okay, but all of us know who actually played football growing up. Football doesn't really start until you get hit.
Yeah.
So until somebody hits somebody, your career hasn't really started.
It's the old boxing. It's the old boxing analogy. Everyone has a plan until you get hit in the face.
There you go. So for me. And again, I want Carter, Dart, Black, Scatterboo. I want all these guys to be good. But just for me personally, because I remember when we drafted JPP, I remember watching him, and within the first 3 games, I said, oh, this kid is good. Oh, this kid is good. Justin Tuck, within the first few games, I said, oh, this kid is good. OCU Manura, oh, this kid is good. It doesn't take long in sports to identify if a player is going to be good, usually. So I'm more worried about the Carter thing where this guy's bringing a lot of attention to himself with the jersey thing and the hoopla and all that. You have to come in and change life, brother. So
the only thing I disagree with is when Jason Pierre-Paul came into the Giants, because like I said, Jason Pierre-Paul is one of my all-time favorite Giant players out of South Florida. He played 16 games, but he didn't start any, and he only had like 4.5 sacks. So it wasn't until 2011 where he had a 16.5 sacks that I think you could really say that, he was going to be, he was really something special between that progression with his first year at camp into that 2011 season. I'm just throwing that out there. And Justin Tuck was first. Justin Tuck went in the second round because of injuries.
Right.
Because he got hurt. He got hurt at Notre Dame before he went in. So I don't think those guys have the pressure. As I think that's what I'm getting to. That to your point, that Abdul Carter is going to have being taken 3rd overall, coming out as a single season as a true defensive end, and we said this stat before, 25.7%. That was Jackson. That was Abdul Carter's missed tackle percentage, his second season as an off the ball linebacker. And you have all these people that want to plug him into 5 different positions. He's got issues making tackles at times in space. He's got issues making tackles in open field at times, especially when he's an off the ball linebacker. He's small. If you watch the Penn State games, he gets lost in the sauce a little bit. Everyone talks about the 24 tackles for losses, but everyone seems to forget in college football, unlike the NFL, most scorers give a tackle for a loss also as a sack. So if you get a sack, you also get scored a tackle for a loss. So he doesn't really have 24 tackles for losses. He has 12. Because majority of the time, and you can look this up, people, majority of the time, and I talked to someone that actually scores games for the NCAA, because most teams score their own teams. And I've talked to someone that does. They say, yes, we count a sack as a tackle for a loss. So, and James's point, you're more concerned because of the fact that he's going to have a bigger role coming in at 3 than Jackson Dart, who's definitely going to sit a year. And we don't know where we're going to put this kid because of the fact that we've said it before. When you looked at that 2011 NASCAR defense, everyone was like 6'5", 270 pounds. You know, you got a kid that's 6'2", 230. So you got a guy that's going to come in who was an off-the-ball linebacker for 2 seasons and played 1 year defensive tackle at Penn State, and asking him to be a game changer for the New York Giants when you already took Kayvon Thibodeau 5th overall 3 years ago and picked up his $14.5 million option, and you went and traded assets for Brian Burns and gave him $120 million.
And Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, because your memory is better than mine, but with JPP, he was raw. He was very raw on tap. But one thing I could say is I never questioned his tackling. He had them big arms, them long arms, like at times, but he was always trying to tackle. And 9 times out of 10, if he got them paws on you, you were going down. So I don't remember any questions about his tackling ability the way we do with some of the guys we have on here now.
I'm going to tell you that I know in that early season, like I said, no, I do not. I think there was some question about his tackling ability. There was some, but like I said, that was in his rookie season because he was a raw natural talent.
He was very raw
coming out of South Florida. So, I mean, but if you took a look at his 14-year career, I mean, this guy is been pretty consistent with his ability and his efforts to play the run. That isn't Jason Pierre-Paul. I mean, he averaged almost 50 tackles a season through 14 years, and that's even with having a couple years towards the end, especially going back to 2021, where he kind of fell off the planet a little bit with Tampa when they had 2.5 sacks. And then after that season, you know, from 2022 to 2023, he only had 3 sacks. So if you really take a look at it, this guy averaged almost 60 tackles a year, taking out some of those end seasons. As a defense,
and half of those were with 8 fingers.
Well,
you know,
just
he
saying.
also caught a pick 6 with 8 fingers.
Just saying, half of those were with 8 fingers. Like, let's be real.
We're always real.
It's funny when you say he was raw, because we also drafted Matthias Kiwanuka, who was also raw, but they both turned out to be pretty good players.
Matthias Kiwanuka coming out of Penn State. Not Penn State, coming out of Boston College.
Boston College.
I was actually thinking of what's name. Wasn't as raw as a talent as people make him or remember him to be, because of the fact that he was pretty proficient at Boston College. The issue with Matthias Kiwanuka was the talent that he was playing against at Boston College. You know, it's not like, you know, it's not 2011 Boston College is not like 2025 Boston College. Your competition level, even when Tom Coughlin was there, was not the greatest. I think more people had concerned that Strider, if you need to run, you can. That's okay. We'll make.
I was gonna say, did you just rob a 7-Eleven, Strider?
If you just robbed the 7-Eleven, we're okay with that.
It was a fire ambulance. I was like, oh crap, it's just passing by.
Because the reason I was getting Matthias Kiwanuka, his rookie season was so much better than Jason Pierre-Paul's. He had 4.5 sacks, but I believe he also had 53 tackles and started in 9 games. And he had people forget Matthias Kiwanuka, his rookie season, had 2 interceptions. So
He did.
Matthias Kiwanuka was more of the fact that people were worried about his level of competition than his talent. Abdul Carter, you can't question the level of competition compared to certain players, but you can question, is an undersized defensive end going to be as productive as a jack of all trades pass rusher than a true defensive end.
And let's not forget Matthias Kiwanuka's missed sack on Vince Young. I was like, what did he do? What did he do?
No, it wasn't a miss sack. He let him go.
He let him go.
He just let him go.
Yeah, I call it a miss
it wasn't a miss. He had him dead to rights.
He thought he heard the whistle.
Yeah.
He said he thought he heard the whistle on that Vince Young miss sack.
And then Coughlin
but he got there.
His face.
He did
Coughlin got in his face. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh God.
He did get there though. But what does LJ get to say? I got to get to the chat here, guys. I've been neglecting the chat. LJ Gante says, wait, what, you're calling me dumb? I don't remember what I was calling you dumb about, but yeah, you're dumb. No, I don't remember. What was I calling
Stop
you dumb
that.
about? No, but you know LJ Gante, you're my brother. I don't know where LJ Gante is.
Big L, mi hermano.
He never comes on, man. Stu says, good morning, Tim. Go Yankees, go Knicks. Dennis says, I saw Pizza Rat climbing out of a broken escalator on my way to the bathroom. His hair was perfect. Okay. Davey, can you imagine being Daniel Jones making the Pro Bowl this year? No, I can't. I have a problem.
Making the what, Davey? The Pro Bowl.
He says Pro Ball, but I understand where Davey's going. Davey's saying Pro Ball.
Davey must be drinking with me if he thinks that.
Been whacking since he came on the first time. I love this Moet. Well, hold on, Moet. Strider, shut up a second. This is a comment. I'm so nice. This is a comment for you. He goes, my man has been walking since he came on for the first time on Tim's podcast. That's you, Strider.
Yeah, I know.
That's how we look so fit and trim.
Yeah.
They say if you walk,
you're doing the Paul Pierce.
You look like you walk like 2 hours a day. That's
I do actually. I do. So here's a funny thing. I do walk. You know what my average steps are when I walk and stuff? It's 30,000 steps.
How many?
30,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that is a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot because most people try to average 10,000.
Yes, I started that way. Then I said, well, why don't I just do more? Then it became a thing. And a funny thing is, 2 years ago, I tried to do 100K steps. I couldn't do it. I had 80,000.
In a day?
My legs were.
I would say 100K in one day.
In one day?
Yeah. 100,000 steps, and I couldn't do it. My legs were tiring out. I was cramping. I was like, I can't do it anymore.
What are you doing? Picking cotton? What are you talking about? 100,000 steps.
Listen, Strider just got a new job recently. Are you a mailman?
No, dude. I work with kids and I coach. I coach volleyball too.
So how the hell are you walking 100,000 steps in a day?
Well, no. Well, I tried to do that in one day, like just to do it for the New Year's, and I couldn't. I reached 80 because my legs were tired. They couldn't go on anymore.
But God forbid.
Day, yeah, but on every day I at least try to average 30,000 steps a day.
Wow.
You know what I love though? He's got these resolutions, these New Year's resolutions. Mine was to drink less rum and drink more whiskey.
Well, I'll take some whiskey for the 30,000 steps. Right there, you go.
30,000 steps.
Right.
This is for you. Semper Fi.
Salute.
Yeah.
All right, let me get back to the chat here. Let's see here. I'm sorry, Coach. I got sidetracked with Coach here. We can say that now because some same quarterbacks have shown themselves to be better than scouted. No, we're not. I am looking at. I guess we're still talking about Jackson Dart not getting drafted to the 5th round. I am looking at what they all did statistically and the way they played in 2023. That's what I'm not looking at now. I'm not looking at what they become. But I'm going by my analysis. And like I said, I'm still taking Caleb Williams. I still think Penix is better than this. I still think.
Are we talking about like just their pre-draft, like before we actually saw them?
I think he's talking about his pre-draft. Listen, Jackson Dart to me in some ways, is Mike Mamula. No one was truly no. I don't mean in regards to he's going to be a bust, because Mike Mamula was not a
I'm like,
bust. Mike Mamula was not a bust, but Mike Mamula is the poster child to the combine warrior. That his draft stock rose so much during the combine. My thing is this: Jackson Dart's stock did not accelerate until after the combine. Colin Cowherd said it best. When you start talking about a guy weeks after the season ended and he was never really in the conversation of either the Heisman or the best quarterback in the draft and all this, and then all of a sudden his stock does this, and he pointed out like 7 different guys that went in the first round that had this happen. They were all busts. And one of them was Zach Wilson, and then I can't remember who a couple of the other people were. I'm just saying that no one was said this before. Lane Kiffin's job, going back to Florida Atlantic, going back to USC, going back to everywhere, his job is not to cultivate and maturate NFL quarterbacks. His job is to win is to win college football games. That's his sole job. That's his sole purpose, is to win at whatever school he has so he can go on to the next bigger and better stop, which is now he's at Ole Miss. So we went through it before. You look at the quarterbacks that he has developed, they all have the same eerily similar style of play. And the Lane Kiffin offense, going back to South Florida and everyone else, cut the field in half. Why is every beautiful play that I see from Jackson Dart a rollout that people want to show me? Why? Because Lane Kiffin cuts the field in half, rolls him out, gives him one option, one throw, and then he gives him a check down, and the other one is his ability to run. He gives him a one read. And like I said, we've gone through the scouting reports that came out directly after the season ended for like a week. And they all said the same thing. He is a one-read quarterback. The field is cut in half, and that's been part of his success. And the big question has always been, is he going to have the ability to completely scan the field and read NFL defenses? Who does that sound like already? Because that's what Pat Shurmur did with Daniel Jones. Pat Shurmur cut the field in half, gave him single option, and told him to throw to a spot, and the other option was to run. That's why he was succeeding. That works for a period of time. So I think the question is, especially for someone like Jackson Dart, looking at the other quarterbacks that were in 2023, was he a better prospect? No. And if you tell me he's a better prospect than the majority of the guys that came out in 2024 after the 2023 season, you're crazy. And I'm not going to listen to it.
Well, the one thing I have to say, and again, I wanted Sanders. That's known, whatever.
Wait a minute.
But
Carter has more tackles in time. Okay.
Stop. Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Hold on. I didn't even finish. What did he say?
He says he had more tackles than Parsons at Penn State. Okay. Coach, you're in timeout because you're a moron. Carter played 3 seasons at Penn State. Parsons played 2. Take Carter's first 2 seasons, compare them to the last season of Parsons. Those 2 seasons equal his last season in regards to tackle. He had 40 plus tackles in his first 2 seasons of Bill Carter. Parsons had over 100. One guy played 3 years, other guy played 2 years. You sitting there and telling me, well, he had more tackles. That's what I like to refer to as moron math. Because a moron will look at something and say, well, one guy played 3, one guy played 2, so that equals 4.
Well,
James,
it's like
now.
It's like you got to calm down, man. We got a big Knicks game coming. Calm the blood pressure.
Wait.
Suddenly, my whole outlook has changed from bad to good.
Great.
But will it last?
No.
I really am a mean and despicable creature at heart, you know.
No, it's not going to last.
You know what that's like, though? That's like when, my fault, Slider, when people are telling me that, well, Dart's going to be good because he broke Eli Manning's passing record. And it's like, so you're telling me Dart's going to be better than Eli because of that?
That means nothing. That means nothing.
You know?
Once you can translate college stats over into the NFL, then I'll look at college stats.
Yeah. All right, I got a question for your Knicks. Ooh, sorry about that.
Oh,
I got a question about your Knicks. You think they can win this one or what? I can't believe it, man. They came back again. I think weren't they down by 20 again?
They were down by 20 with 4 minutes and 51 seconds left in the third.
How the hell? I don't know what the Celtics did, but thank God you
they
guys
kept
took
shooting threes.
advantage.
They
'Cause
kept shooting threes.
I was like, what are you doing? And
They
then like
kept
I just saw
shooting
I saw the lead like dwindling down. I'm all like, let me guess what the Celtics are gonna do. Oh, there you go again. I was like, holy crap. But when you guys pulled it out again, I was like, maybe they can do it, man. Like
Oh, I knew it was
I
gonna happen.
and I know like the Celtics, I think they're like a good road team, but man, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna
Listen, the
gonna be close.
Knicks have to take one at home,
Yeah.
and then we're just gonna beat them in Boston.
Listen, it's very
6.
simple. It's very simple. We all play basketball. I coached it. You coach volleyball. Slider, you know. If the Celtics continue to shoot threes like they're Golden State, they're going to get swept.
Yeah.
If Jason Tatum decides that when they do the pick and roll, and when he looks at Jalen Brunson, same thing with Jalen Brown, when they have Brunson on them, and then they decide to go, oh snap, I'm going to take this guy to the hole, then they're gonna get back in the series. It's very simple. It's like
Yeah.
it's so simple that it bothers my brain. These guys during the comeback, real quick, during the comeback in the last game, when we were making our comeback, when Bridges started it, and then Brunson and everybody else started chipping in, those guys missed 6 threes in the final 6-7 minutes of the game. They came down and they took about 3 or 4 straight. That is not basketball. The Golden State Warriors broke the game because they had 2 of the greatest shooters of all time. That's why they were, and then they added Kevin Durant for a couple of years. That's why they were able to do what they did. Lightning sometimes does strike twice. The Warriors won a couple chips. The Celtics won last year. Shooting threes is not going to win you a chip or games consistently in the NFL. I mean, in the NBA. It's just like in the NFL when they try to tell us the running back is not important. The running game is not important. Oh, yeah? Tell that to Saquon Barkley and the Eagles last year.
It's all
Come
about
on,
how
man.
you move that ball. It's all about how you move the ball. And
Make sure you guys
make
sure you hit the like button, please. Also, Slider, while you're out there, Ask Me wants to ask you. Well, he says, I live in the woods. I walk 5 miles just to get my mail. Can you go get his mail?
Yeah, which
You're
part
already
in the
out.
woods are you at?
Could you go get his mail? Is that possible?
Sure, yeah.
Is that gonna work for you?
Sure. Give me your card number too at the same time, so I don't work for free.
I'm trying to see if I should read this new ad, but I can't find the offer code. I know it's
got obligations.
It's professionalism here at its finest.
That's what we do here.
But should I read this ad? I don't know where the damn offer code is. Do I need the offer code?
We are a professional cult. We are LLC.
We are so professional on this channel that I can't find. I could read the SNHU ad, but that's for a different person. So, oh, here it is. It's hold on. Should we read this, guys? Should we read this ad?
I mean,
should we practice? Should we practice?
Yeah, go ahead. It's preseason. It's mini camp for you.
We should practice this ad before, because they want me to add my panache to it. They want me to have fun with it. But I think we should practice it on the live stream before we put it out in a video. What do you guys think?
This could get dangerous.
Should we do that? No, I can't do it because I don't have the offer code. Damn it. For those that do not know,
next time.
I'm gonna give you guys a preview. This is for it's crunch time on the court in the NBA playoffs, or your chance to score big. Whether you're riding with your favorite team or cheering the underdog, every 3-point, every dunk, every buzzer beater is an opportunity to win at mybookie.com. There you go. There's a preview. Because I don't have the offer code. I'd give you the offer code, but I don't have it. Ask me, what is it? Track says, what's up, fellas? Not much. Everything's good. Alexander says, we don't think the stock rises at the time. It does because coaches don't get involved until around the Senior Bowl. I mean, the combine, yes, too, but still, Hold on. He continued. Point is I'm trying to make is these guys can do well in the meetings and private workouts. 100%. I agree. And I think Jackson, to the point that I was getting to, we never actually got back to the point. I think Jackson Dart's stock rose in these private meetings. If you take a look at, like I said, if you take a look at the offense that he ran here, you know what? I'm gonna do Jackson Dart snap count.
Stop it.
He did it, not me. But I'm just saying his stock may have rose, but if you take a look at what scouts actually said about him directly after the season, we have read these scouting reports millions of times. I'm not going to get into it again. If you read some of them, you're like, why did we draft this guy? Because who does he sound like? And are we doubling down and making the same mistake? That's all I'm saying. Like I said, I hope the kid throws for. I hope the kid comes out and is the greatest quarterback in Giant history and wins multiple Super Bowls. But we also have to sit there and think to ourselves, you know, where is it? There's already the talk and speculation that he's not going to start. That they're all saying, well, he doesn't have to start. Well, if I'm drafting a guy at 25, normally I want him to play. This isn't the 80s and the 90s, well, especially in the 70s and 80s, where you could take a quarterback in the first round and not play him for 5 years. NFL comparison of him coming out of college, we said this before, is Christian Ponder. Is that a name you want to be associated with? Concerns coming out of college. Here we go. I'm just going to do it real quick. Dart was able to make reads pre-snap, but often made plays based on a single read or a half-the-field read. There are some, but not enough evidence to confidently suggest Dart can consistently process defensive coverages post-snap, nor was there enough evidence to show that he can make full-field reads. These are factors common with a quarterback who plays in a schemed-up college offense. Again, Lane Kiffin's job is to win games, not to cultivate NFL quarterbacks. Through a different arm angles, which is fine, but his release point was closer to his chest than his head, leading to 9 passes batted down in 2024, the same number as shorter passes, Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, 20 batted down balls over 3 years at Ole Miss. I always love this stat that no one wants to talk about. Has a history of not being clutch late in the game. Last year, his completion percentage in the fourth quarter was 59.1, worst of any quarter, with a 15% off-target rate that is consistent over 3 years at Ole Miss, which was a total of 60.1, and off-target rate of 12.4. Is especially notable in 3 years at Ole Miss and 1 at USC. Dart threw 0 game-winning touchdowns and led the Rebels to game-winning scores late in the fourth quarter just twice in 3 years. Then you have to look at the 3 interceptions, well, technically only 2 counted, in the Florida game and what happened in the Kentucky game. This is right after the football season ended. These were scouting reports after it ended, like a week later. So this is all fresh in people's mind, the way he played. We've said this before on this channel. As things go further away, the eye's mind wanders and you don't see certain things anymore. You kind of forget. That was like when they were on the Twitter space yesterday with Carl Banks and Papa. They were talking about how well the Giants offense was and how prolific it was and how, Drew Lock had almost a 15, almost a perfect passer rating. And then there's my dumbass who brings up the fact that, can we talk about the 14 missed tackles? Do we want to chat about that? Do we want to talk about that? They were they in third and long situations, they gave up plays of 14, 8 and 8 yards and all conversions. We didn't want to talk about that. We also didn't want to talk about the fact that 6 off those missed tackles resulted in 6 plays of 30+ yards or more. But actually I give Carl Banks credit because he actually answered all those questions. He actually, he actually had a decent answer for everything that I said, and like I said, I thought that was very astute. But
that's he's a professional,
right?
That's what he's supposed to. Right.
Look at us being nice. Look at us.
No, but it's the truth. It's when you ask. That's the problem with us on social media and when you ask somebody a viable question, you would like them to give you somewhat a viable answer in return.
Right.
You know, it's very simple. It's not hard.
It's James.
What's that?
My icy heart. It's melting.
Come on, James. We're not having this.
That is hilarious.
We have to go back to Joe Shannon.
You have no
Marbles.
marbles.
So
Marbles.
Marvelous.
we have to go back to that. Let's see what the chat also says here. Number 11 is higher volume than 7, Tim. 11 is higher volume. Number 11 is higher volume. Yeah, I know that. Let's go next. Let's go Mets. Good afternoon, Logic Finds. Good afternoon, Jets. Hope everyone and your families are doing well. What's up, Big Evan? The Celtics screwed themselves in those games. We'll see what happens. Guys, make sure you hit the like button, too. We got
Hit that like button.
We got 60 plus people in the YouTube sphere and another 100 something over in that other place. You can't say their name because then you knocked you down the rankings. So make sure you stay tuned and do all that. Said Northern Quebec. Okay, Slider, you're not. I don't think you're that far away from Northern Quebec.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you could walk 80,000 steps, you can just hike your ass up to Northern Quebec.
Oh, he's in Quebec.
Why not? No, I'm in California.
I know.
No, you're in. I know you're not in Quebec, sunshine.
Yeah, but if you just walk up California and you just keep walking around the state a little bit and you kind of go this way, you know, you can go right into Canada.
Yeah.
I don't know. We lost James. James, are you going to the bathroom or getting an atlas?
Yo, real quick. This is totally side note. Yo, do you know this liquor? You in Quebec?
Do you know this?
Do you know this?
But I
you
can
send
get
me
it
some?
if you'd like.
If you want to send, for anyone that wants to send James liquor in care of Online Big Blue Sports.
Look, it's from Quebec.
Oh, it's from Quebec. Where does it say? Hold on. Oh yeah, in the big ass letters that say Quebec.
This is from Canada. She trafficked this across state lines illegally.
That is a joke. She bought that at the local bodega.
Sure, she did.
I was about to chug that
bring
down.
anything through customs that was either a liquid or a food into the country illegally, not whatsoever.
Nice.
Trying to help you out there, brother.
Hey, man, I didn't say any names.
Evan says at least he can sit and learn for a while. Like I said, the goal purpose, back in the 70s and the 80s, you drafted a quarterback in the first round. Sometimes they didn't see the field for 5 years because there was no free agency. So you could do things like years ago in one of the greatest drafts ever when Roger Staubach was taken. They took him in like the last round and they just knew he had a 5-year military commitment. They just took him in the last round and tucked him away. And he only came out to practice in training camp. And actually, when Roger Staubach was in Vietnam, the Cowboys sent him footballs so he can continue to practice when he was in Vietnam. Little known fact. So you could do that back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s because there was no free agency. Now it's a little bit different because you have to remember, one of the things I didn't like taking Jackson Dart at 25, the quarterback clock has started. Yeah, you have that 5th-year option, but you're on the clock now. And they always tell you, especially if you take a quarterback in the first round, you should probably try to win in those first 5 years. Because look at Burrows. Because if you don't, you're going to owe him a lot of money afterwards. And you all know that if you give a quarterback $300 million, that does a lot to your salary. Hell, listen, you only give a quarterback $160 million. That does a lot to your salary cap.
But at least they made a Super Bowl with him. They didn't win it.
But they didn't win it, but they still their team could it be better right now if they didn't have that large number.
No. But I'm just making the point that when you take a guy high, you want him to be good enough that in those first few years, like you're saying, he can hopefully get you to a Super Bowl while you're still building up the team. Because like you said, now the team is you're gonna lose players, you're gonna overpay other guys to keep them, get it. But is the guy you're taking in the first round? Let's just keep it simple. And I want every Giants fan, every Colt, member to think about this. Do you think, as we go, and we don't know yet, but do you forget the NFL? Do you think Jackson Dart is good enough to compete against Dak, Jaden, and Jalen? That's his competition. You got to get off the block before you worry about the guys in the next neighborhood. If you're not the best guy on your block, then
So what you're saying is you need to be Jenny on the block.
you need to be you need to be the standout. If you're not that, then it's like
J-Lo on the block. You have to go out.
You do kind of.
You have to go out and get your Ben Affleck, and you need to be J-Lo.
That's hilarious.
What's more hilarious is Carl Banks just posted on Twitter again. Let's get it once camp starts so we can actually have some evaluations to discuss.
Yeah, like we don't know anything yet.
So no, he's saying he's going to come on the show so we can have.
Oh, he is.
Discuss. That's what this is on his Twitter. And okay, guys,
is Carl watching you?
I don't.
Is Carl watching you
right now?
I don't think so. Look at her. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to close it out because this is the last live stream until preseason or video because we're going to fuck it up before then. So, no, I'm just going to sign off now because I'm going to screw it up.
Got to leave on a high note.
Got to do what George Costanza and leave on a high note. Asmi says, let's go back. Lodger says, scouts say Kadarius Toney was a day one starter. Fans put it on the gold jacket of Kadarius Toney in first camp. Fans think that we should be ignored. They can't evaluate talent. Well, we didn't think Kadarius Toney was a first round talent. Watch our live stream. You saw the air get sucked out of the room when we drafted Kadarius Toney. And I even said, when scouts coming out of Florida after that fourth season, which was a COVID season, scouts kept saying that his route running was defined as unique. And that, like we said on this show, when something's unique or defined as unique, it does not mean that is good. And I kept trying to explain to people he doesn't know how to run routes. And his only good season, which was 900 plus yards, was a COVID season that year when we took him. And it wasn't until after we drafted him that I figure out, I don't know what the hell the Giants were doing, but the Gettleman did it, and it didn't make any. We did it because we were trying to get weapons for weapons. We were trying to get weapons for Deion Jones, but it made no sense. You lost out on Devontae Smith. You screwed yourself out of Parsons.
Yeah, that was bad.
And you ended up with Kadarius Toney, whose nicest thing scouts could say about his route running ability was it was unique. And I love that after the Dallas game that everyone went nuts. And Daniel Jones wasn't even the quarterback that second half. Look at what he's going to do. Look what he's going to do. And I kept trying to explain to people, and we talked about it video after video. You're so mean. You don't know anything about sports. When you don't have the ability to run routes, and you are basically what they used to refer to as a scat back or a jitterbug or someone that just runs around and tries to make you miss. The first thing defenses do is very simple, in which they did like towards the end of the season when he wasn't hurt. And especially as a former defensive player, I'll tell you, you park your ass in front of the guy. You don't try to tackle him. You don't try to stop him. You try to mirror him and slow him down because he's not running a route, and you wait for the cavalry. And that's what teams started doing. Because it's not that hard to figure out that he can't run a route. And after watching some of his rap ability, I don't think he could spell route.
Stop that.
Sorry, I told you I'd screw it up.
We're not talking about athletes rapping. Stop it. Especially not him.
Come on, man. Darren Waller is my favorite rapper.
He was singing. He wasn't even rapping. He was doing the Drake. We're really not talking about that. And he was trying to get his girl back.
But, you have to give Darren Waller credit.
No, we don't.
He tried to get his girl back by being one of the worst entertainers in reference to R&B in the history of the world.
No. Don't get me sidetracked. That video, he tried to pull a Justin Timberlake. He had the girl in the video looked like his ex-wife, and he's sitting there telling her, "You're gonna miss out. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone." That was horrible, man. That's how low we've fallen. That was hard. Slider, if you've never seen it, Google it. Darren Waller music.
I don't want it.
just it's my God.
It might kill my
My
brain
God.
cells, man. I don't think I want.
Nah, man.
Darren Waller, man, come on. Let's
Nah.
let's give Waller some props. Come on.
No.
I give
That was
Darren Waller
bad.
props because he figured it out. That preseason game against the Panthers, that first year here, he figured it out right away. He ran it. He ran a crossing pattern. He ran across the field. Daniel Jones. This was the one drive that Giants had Daniel Jones in the entire offense. Daniel Jones threw him into contact, and he almost got decapitated by the safety that Daniel Jones didn't see. Darren Waller get up and said, "I quit." He didn't really quit, but you could tell from his body language, he's like, "I fucking quit." This guy almost got me killed in preseason. So
That's why his ex left him.
Ashley says, guys, our O-line hasn't improved at all. We might see Dart pretty early in the season. I hope he sits and learns for a while, but it's the Giants, so we never know what will happen. You took what's his name? Is it Embo or is it I don't know.
I just call him Mungo.
Oh, I never remember with this guy.
I just call him Mungo.
You took a kid that is basically Matt from Connecticut 2.0, but from a better college. He doesn't come from Connecticut, who is an undersized offensive lineman whose best ability is pass blocking, and he can play either the tackle or the guard position. Which, honestly, if you look at the roster that we have, and we haven't seen him even play yet, but you kind of look at the offensive line talent that we have outside of Andrew Thomas, you're like, he could be one of our better offensive linemen. And
say it. Yeah, go ahead, say it.
Thought.
Yeah.
James, you're no volume.
You hear me?
Still there?
I can hear you.
James?
You can hear me?
Slider.
I can hear him.
Oh, Slider can hear me. We can't hear you, Jester. Viper.
Did we? I lost everyone here.
I can hear Slider.
Lost audio from all you guys. You guys might have to jump out and jump back in again because I lost audio from both you and Slider.
Oh, okay.
So jump back in. Can everyone hear me? If you can hear, someone give me a thumbs up or a 1 if you can hear me, because evidently we lost I lost the volume on the two brothers there. Good to see. Hey, Afghanistan baby, what's up? Yes, okay, you can hear it. Yeah, what's up, baby? Good to see you guys as well. Let me drop James back in. James, you still there?
Can you hear me?
No, we lost audio from all of our guys. We must be having an issue with we must be having an issue, guys. All right, well, James, I don't know what's going on. Let me unmute the mic. Let's mute the mic. Try it again. Anything?
You hear me? Nope.
Bueller? I'm not getting anything from you. I'm not getting anything from you at all, James.
Oh.
All right, my brother. I'm gonna have to. I can hear all three of you. Wow, I can't hear any of them. That's weird. I don't know. Something happened there, guys. Something happened there, guys. We're not gonna have any more guests, anyways. We're not having. Yeah, we can hear everyone. I can't hear anyone. That's really fucking weird. I'm getting no one. I'm not getting anyone in the headset. All right. Well, I'm gonna finish it out myself then. Tim, which quarterback coach cultivates their quarterback? Which quarterback coach cultivates their quarterback? They all cultivate their quarterbacks. Oh, wait, we're not doing the professionalism here, guys. Oh, I gotta put up the media assets. Here we go. There we go. Oh, forgot I had that. Oh yeah, gotta go back to the professionalism here again. We're just his name is Bo. M is silent. Okay, thank you. Afghanistan baby says it doesn't take much to be instantly one of our better offensive linemen. That's kind of my thought process. You look at Bo, it's like, could he potentially be coming in here not just to be a swing tackle or a swing guard, but to be a starter? I've never been in love with John Runyon Jr. And JMS, how nice he is. You got to think JMS is on the hot seat a little bit. I don't know why I couldn't hear everyone. He's got to think he's on the hot seat a little bit because of the fact that didn't have a stellar rookie season. He led centers in holding penalties his rookie season. And in his second season, he led the league in sacks allowed by a center. And he's still this undersized kid that I don't understand it because he is a former wrestler, but he doesn't get leverage. He doesn't seem to understand leverage, which I was very shocked about. I always said Joe Tippmann to me was a better prospect. But at the end of the day, can you live with another season of him not progressing? And John Runyon, like I said, they let John Runyon go in Green Bay, and they drafted this kid in the third round. He's now an All-Pro. And they said in Green Bay that if Runyon wanted $10 million, they were no way in hell they're going to give that kid $10 million. They were like, we're just going to let him go. And they had already started phasing him out at the end of the season going into the playoffs by rotating him. And they always said he is a much better pass blocker than he is a run blocker. And I always find it interesting when an offensive lineman is better going backwards than they are going forwards. I always find it interesting. And they also, with his in Green Bay, his footwork is don't pull him as a guard because he has a tendency of tripping over his own feet. So the health of Andrew Thomas is going to be paramount in this situation. Because without Andrew Thomas, that says, have a great weekend, Tim and everyone. Happy Mother's Day. Have to run and get an oil change for my Tahoe. What kind of Tahoe do you have? I always wanted a Tahoe. What a Tahoe. Can you hear me now? We already did. Can they hear me? I always wanted a Tahoe. Let's see here. Wow, I'm way behind on the chat. But so the health of Andrew Thomas is going to be paramount. And now evidently they are shifting Evan Neal to guard, and I know they mentioned yesterday on the space that he looks, and it's way early, but they're saying that he looks more confident in his ability at guard, which I don't understand how. Let's see here, because it's, again, we can't tell. That's not Johnny Walker. No, it's not Johnny Walker. Let's see here. Don't we think their stock rises at times? It doesn't because coaches don't get involved until, we got that. I got that. The point. Northern Quebec. We got the Northern Quebec. I got to figure out where I'm at here in this chat. Oh, Canada. James the Bootlegger. Leader. What's up, Behold? Leader of the giant YouTubers. Notorious TIM. I appreciate you, Behold, as always. OG Knox at Jackson Dart. Some smart. I hope it translate on the field. You hope it translate. But see you later, Evan. Nice. Carl Banks. Awesome guest. Don, we're having problems with the audio. I can't hear anybody. That's why we stopped having guests. They can hear you, but I can't hear anybody. Let me see if I can add you, because I'm for some reason I'm not hearing people anymore in my headphones. Well, we're gonna try Don. We're gonna try Big Don. I think there's something wrong on my end on the StreamYard thing. Dom.
Pokemon, can you hear me?
Yeah, see, I'm not. They can hear you, Don, but I can't hear you, and I don't know. And okay. I don't know why. Hold on, let me see here. Let me see. Maybe if I do something like that. Let me try something here. I don't know why I can't. I don't know why I can't hear anybody. I gotta terrible. See. They can hear you, but I can't hear you. That's the professionalism of this show. Let's see. Okay. Audio.
I'm out there.
Yeah, I got the roadie and the main mic. Hold on. Let me switch out here. Hold on. Let's see if if that works. Don, can you say something?
Hola.
No, I still can't hear anybody.
Oh.
I don't know, guys. Why, Don? I'm gonna have to let you go, brother, man. Like I said, I can't hear anything. We'll have guests on next week. I don't know why I can't hear anybody. Something went screwy with the soundboard here. Yes, nice. Carl Banks, awesome guest. Sure, okay. Afghanistan says, doesn't take much. We already got that one. Davey says, Tim and James can sing. By the way, good to see you, Tim. Good to see you as well, Afghanistan, baby. Yo. Let's see here, everyone. I don't know. Let's see here. I'm trying to get to here. Let's see. What's up? What's up, Joseph Quiones? How you doing, my brother? Yo, Tim. We have hope for 2025. Tim, you need a reboot. Yeah, I do. I need to reboot everything. But I can't reboot everything because then I shut everything down. And I'm going to be leaving in a couple minutes. But right now, of course, there's hope. Everyone in May, it's Carl Banks. Everyone in May is 0-0. Everyone. Everyone in May has a winning record. Hope springs, they say spring. Hope springs eternal. And you know, I mean, it's you know, I don't know, but wait, what about my soundboard? Is my soundboard out? Hold on. Let's see. Can we hear this?
I agree. It's completely unprofessional, Dick.
Lou, can I ask you to please put out your cigarette?
No, I like to smoke when I drink.
Did we hear that? Because I don't know why the I don't know. It's StreamYard. I don't like StreamYard sometimes. So what are you gonna do? Let's see. Yeah, but we hope we're gonna get better. We hope we're gonna play better. We hope we're gonna do well. We did get it. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the damn soundboard. It's definitely something wrong with the StreamYard in the back end connection. So we would have to reboot everything. But we're gonna be leaving anyway shortly. Says, let's see. It's Carl Banks. Thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Let's see. Elijah Fernandez. O-line are supposed to be the biggest guys on your team at 6'4", 350 pounds the minimum. Well, you're also supposed to have some pretty big defensive tackles. That we don't. Rookie. What's a nice way to put this? Rookie minicamp is just that. It's rookies coming in. It's rookies trying to figure out the NFL a little bit, trying to find their way. And it's bad enough that they're going to have enough pressure on them just to get acclimated into the NFL than they have with fans, like I said, Pat Leonard saying that the wonderful Jackson Dart is going to work. It's going to be hard to keep Jackson Dart off the bench. Let the kid Strider. We got no volume still. Still got no volume, brother. Yeah, we'll try. We'll try Strider. We'll try Slider. I got no volume. But it's just one of those things, guys. Give them a chance to grow. Give them a chance to maturate. Give them a chance to find their footing in the NFL. That goes for both Carter and Dart and anyone in the Giants draft. I mean, I think that from a perspective, there's no way you can judge anything about Carter now. And like I said, every person is going to live and die with this is like Daniel Jones 2.0, not in reference to play, but there's certain people and certain pundits that are going to sit there and live and die with every single Jackson Dart pass. He's brought in here at the situation that he's in because he's going to grow. He's going to maturate. He's going to hopefully he is going to get better. I love this slider. Slider says, that's okay, Tim. Talk more through the chat, but he's good. You hope he's going to get better. You hope he's going to show a progression. You hope he's going to figure out the NFL. Let's get him in the training camp. Let's get him into a scrimmage. Hell, let's get him into a preseason game because he's going to have to play a lot because you're not going to sacrifice Russell Wilson. If you go back in the Giants' history the last 6 years, you're not going to sacrifice Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in preseason games, even though I'm totally against that. I remember when there was 5 preseason games. I'm old. I remember 5 preseason games. But you got people anointing him after a couple passes that it's gonna be hard not to keep him on the bench. Great balls of fire. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Do we like the Sunday streams or the Saturday streams? I personally think I like the Sunday streams. I think we get a larger audience on Sundays, and I always like talking to new people and talking to everyone, and everyone seems so. I don't know. I talked to Pat Leonard you did. Well, why didn't you tell me this, Slider? This is actually information. I talked to Pat Leonard on his live stream. I talked to him about my concerns on Bowen, and he said he hasn't had a good defense. It was good with Schwartz, but once he left, he wasn't great. His focus was on offense. It sucked. Why didn't you tell me this? This was detailed information that we should have had when you were on. And what the hell are you doing talking on Pat Leonard's show? You come here and you follow this channel. That's it. You're dead to me. Just kidding. I wanted to, but you couldn't hear me. Yeah, but you were on for like an hour. Anything else going on, guys? Any other questions? Anyone want to talk about anything? This is the love line. Anything else going on? It is 11:50 here in the PM. Want to thank James. Want to thank Slider. Want to thank Davey. Want to thank Big Don for trying to come on. I don't know what happened with the. I don't know where I went with the sound bar, but Jackson starts week 14. You know, I wouldn't have a problem if Jackson started week 14. I would have a problem if Jackson started if Jackson starts at a necessity vis-a-vis the injury in week 3. I think we're in a lot of trouble. If you tell me you are going to give him till week 14 to start, I don't have a problem with that. Giants in 2004, 7-6. Kurt Warner's playing well enough, but Coughlin kind of figures out we are not a playoff team. Looked at the division, looked at the standings, saw the playoff things, and at 7-6, a winning record, you know, at 13 games, 3 games left, he puts in the rookie. And the poor kid gets demolished. I still remember, was it Jeremiah Trotter, the hit at the end of the Eagle game where Eli didn't even see him and he got laid out. And then he had to go up against that vaunted Ravens defense. He wasn't ready to play till the week 16 against the Eagles that we won that game. He wasn't ready to play. But I think it was smart for Coughlin and the Giants to sit him so he could watch and learn from a professional such as Kurt Warner. So I'm hoping that Jackson Dart kind of finds the same scenario. I'm going to stream soon. Batman returned to Arkham. Would you like to start doing some Giant stuff but haven't decided yet? Okay. I'm going to stream soon. Batman returns to Arkham. Would you like to start doing some Giant stuff but would like to start? Well, you should do some Giant stuff. You come on here. You do a great job. I couldn't figure out what you meant here for a minute there. They haven't even, Blackbird's right, they haven't even played a game yet. Oh my God, ask me. I saw, no. Bad. No. We already talked. You missed the first part of it. Yeah, you missed the first hour. Ask me. We already talked about this. No. We're not trading Jameis Winston yet. We're not and honestly, I don't think the Saints want Jameis. The Saints had Jameis. The problem with Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston, for all of his fun-loving antics and all this stuff, he wears out his welcome. He did it in Tampa. Hell, he did it in New Orleans, and he kind of did it in Cleveland. Because the antics are fun in the beginning when you're losing, but when the interceptions start piling up, veterans get annoyed. And then the antics are no longer fun. They are now childish and annoying. So he kind of wore out that's why he's not still with, that's why the Saints let him go and didn't bring him back. They kind of wore it out his welcome there. Jackson Dart. That's the question. Do I do like I said, I haven't bought a Giants jersey in years because I refuse to. I always buy the hats. And I don't need to wear a hat. I got a full head of hair. Even at 50 plus years old, I got a full head of hair. Except I wear the hats because you literally see the fly. You can see the flyaways. I need to get a haircut. I got to get a haircut like every 3 weeks. I have to, because then I have this freaking mop on my head. I don't know where I was going with that. Winston to the Saints so he could lick them dudes. But Jackson Dart with the jersey. I don't know what I'm going to buy a jersey this year. But do I buy an Abdul Carter jersey or do I buck the trend and get a Daniel Jones jersey? I actually had a Daniel Jones jersey. For all the people that said I was a hater, I had a Daniel Jones jersey. I gave it to James. I gave it to James Williams because he wanted to give it to his cousin as a gift, but James kept it. Great work. What's up, C Webb? What's up, my brother? Great work online, Big Blue. Well, thank you. I'm not liking all this I'm not liking all this praise. No, I don't like it. I
don't like it.
feel out funny.
I'm not liking it. That's like I said, the Believe Network sent me a really nice email. One of the guys there, and I had to stop myself from responding to him with "fuck you." I don't like it. You don't like it. I have a Daniel Jones shirt. I had a Daniel Jones jersey. Tell people all the time. Which college produces the best NFL quarterbacks? But let me get my Daniel Jones thought. Let me get my Daniel Jones thought out first. So, I mean, do I go the Jackson Dart or do I go the Abdul Carter? Do I go the anti-Jones? That's the question. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, I don't know, guys. This season, I don't have this. It's funny though because I'm still sitting in the portal waiting for my PSLs. And the reason I bring that up is my PSLs were due, and you kind of got to get rid of them. And at a certain period of time, and I'm debating whether I'm just going to keep my season tickets. I'm kind of debating that, and I gotta kind of go from there. And I think I might keep my season tickets this year. I'm really thinking I might keep them. Let's see here. What's that's Daniel Jones jersey. Tim, I got some funny and disturbing how weird teams are from coach's view. Where's the one that I'm sorry, I was skipping the one about the quarterbacks. Great show online. Dan Jones shirt. Someone asked me a minute ago. Oh, here we go. OG knockout. Let me get the other comments. Another day, another 2 cents. Yeah, that's about right. Tim, which college coaches produces the best NFL quarterbacks? I'm going to go none, to be honest. Because in the NFL, like I said, in college football, your job as a college football coach is not to produce an NFL quarterback. Your job is to win games in college. And that's not a cop-out answer. It's just the fact that's what it is. Now, if you would have asked, like I said, you got to look at Alabama, in reference to quarterbacks, which is funny. If you go to all time, people forget you got to go back to I don't know. Like there are plenty of colleges that it's a kind of a loaded question because like I said, you're not there or designed to develop an NFL quarterback. You are there to win games because if you don't win games in college, you're never going to get that big contract. You're never going to get that big step. You're not going to get that pro deal. But like I said, that's a tough question. You know what I might have to do? I'm going to do a video on that, Joji. I got to do a video on that. Another day, another 2 cents. See what Ball says. What do you think this version is with his offense with the development of Jackson Dart? It's funny. I kept they keep telling me that Jackson Dart is Josh Allen-esque. I don't see that. I see Jackson Dart, and the problem is, like I said, with the validity of the offense run by Lane Kiffin, it's a half the field offense, and we have to figure out how to develop Jackson Dart into a full field read quarterback. So if you see this, if Jackson Dart is playing, you are going to have to go to more of a vanilla, simplistic offense with singular reads, kind of like, especially in the beginning, kind of like Lane Kiffin did at Ole Miss. And we saw with Daniel Jones that'll work. The Pat Shurmur cut the field in half, give him one option, give him a spot to throw to, and your second option is to run. Works for a short period of time. But like we said, for 4.5, 5 years, it doesn't develop an complete NFL quarterback by giving them the ability to completely view the field. Daniel Jones's processing speed on plays was so slow. He was a Commodore, for the old timers out there, for the Gen Xers, he was a Commodore 64. He couldn't produce plays, which basically he held on to, I don't have to tell you, C-Web, he held on to the ball too long in the pocket because his processing ability was so slow. He didn't really go well. If he went to his first read and went to his second, there was no going back to the third, or going to the third or going back to the first with Daniel Jones because he couldn't read the field that way. Figuring out a way to develop Jackson Dart's ability to give a full field read is going to be paramount for whatever coach is on this team. If it's Brian Dable or whomever comes in afterwards. So if it's me and if it's me and I have to start Jackson Dart, I'm kind of going to go what Matt LaFleur did with Malik Willis in Green Bay. I'm going to run the shit out of the ball. I'm going to use Cam Scatterboot as my 2-down bowling ball back that softens up the defense and hopefully get into 3rd and 3 situations, stay out of 3rd and long, use screens, use some bubble screens, throw out the backfield, go to the tight end. And then when you lull that defense more in because you are pounding them so much with the rock, you take your shot deep on the sidelines with Malik Neighbors. That's what I would do if I'm them. Wasn't David Deal a swing tackle? Yeah, it kind of was. Wandell taking a step. You know what the thing is with Wandell Robinson? I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to ask Carl Banks about it yesterday, and I didn't get an opportunity to. I still think to this day that Wandell Robinson should be Darren Sproles. Wandell Robinson had one of the most quiet 90 reception seasons that I've ever seen because he's still going back to Kentucky, and we talked about this, doesn't know how to positionally with his body catch the ball to help him produce a yak. He still doesn't after 3 years in this league. And he does, and we talked about it when we drafted him. If you are getting pulled down from behind at Kentucky, how is that going to translate fully into the NFL? And that was our biggest concern with him coming out of college. And he has no yak. He has none. And he will do the scat bat thing and get around. So why not make him Darren Sproles? Darren Sproles maybe only ran the ball 90 times a year, but he was effective doing that way because it was a change of pace. It was, if he was in the backfield, like I said, I would literally put Wandell Robinson everywhere. I'd make him like dog shit. I'd put him everywhere. But I would also have him on 3rd downs kind of be that key Dave Meggett, going back to 86, Tony Galbraith type guy that makes more sense to have him come out of the backfield and give you the ability to either call his number on a run or on a draw or get it to him on a screen on the backfield and get those additional yards and maybe open up the middle of the field for him to run. I don't understand why the Giants have this proclivity of sitting there and saying, he is going to be our slot guy. You can't play him on the outside because of his size and stature, but why not? You don't need to run him 50 times a game. You run him 4, 5, 6 times a game like they did in Darren Sproles. And Darren Sproles, going back to San Diego and the Eagles, would kill the Giants, especially in Philadelphia, with those little delayed handoffs on 3rd and 4s. So why not do the same thing? Dan the Man says, thank God I never got one. This guy I used to be friends with is a Dallas fan, and his last name is Jones. F that. What would you say is the Giants' identity? It's weird that you bring that up. It's a 2 for 2 for C-Web. Actually, it's more than a 2. It's more than a 2 for 2, but we're gonna give it to him anyways.
2 in the box. Ready to go. We be fast and they be slow.
I don't know what the identity of the Giants is. I have a video coming out Monday that discusses all that. I have no idea because it's only rookie minicamp. And there's such a quagmire in reference to way this roster is put together and what the coaching staff is. So I said this before, to me, in some regards, this is a cut and paste roster that has certain coaches that don't fit the talent. And we're gonna talk about that on Monday. OG Knockout says, or should I say, which college school produces the best quarterbacks? Oh, if you go back into history, you gotta go with Notre Dame. You know, they put out two Super Bowl champions and MVPs in Joe Montana and Joe Theismann. They also put out, like, people forget, Paul Hornung was a quarterback. USC is always the guys that just, USC is going back to freaking Pat Hayden, even Rob Johnson at one point in time. Carson Palmer until the injury was something special. Rodney Peete played forever. But like I said, then also you go with back in the day, if you're looking for championships, you go Purdue. You got Len Dawson out of Purdue, Bob Greasy out of Purdue, only undefeated quarterback, Drew Brees out of Purdue. So you gotta completely go back into the full annals of all history. So that's a good question, though. That's OG. That's good. That's a topic of conversation. That's a good question. Blackbird says Dan Jones being picky to which teams he wanted to go to after the Giants released him. I know I would have been like, "You want me? Yes, I'm here. I'm coming in." Let's see here. Go Carter. Their franchise has prided itself on having elite defensive players. True. Sliders says Deal was a Swiss Army knife. Deal was a Swiss Army knife. I loved it. I love David Deal. What does Margaret have to say? Jerseys are too expensive to wear a hat all the time with a jersey. The number is okay if it has a name on it. Like I said, I have a lot of jerseys. I collect jerseys. I got jerseys from all over the place, and a lot of the jerseys I have are signed. I just got a signed Bernard King number 30, and I actually had Mr. King sign it, which was spectacular because Bernard King is actually outside of Patrick Ewing, is one of my all-time favorite Knicks. But like I said, I haven't bought Giants gear in years, so I think this year we're gonna have to turn around and try to do it. Davey says, now that there is a Villanova grad as the Pope, the Villanova Knicks are ordained to win the championship. He's also from Chicago. I don't know what that means. Slider says, "Hey Tim, I talked to Pat Leonard. Recommend that you. Tim." When I talked to Pat Leonard, I recommended you do a stream with him because you tell it straight and you don't sugarcoat anything. You guys got to stop. You guys have to stop. I can't be nice all the time because then you got to be nice. Like you said, you know me. Carl Banks just posted something on X that he's agreed to come on the show. We got to stop doing live streams and shows till he comes on. Because I'm going to do something. I'm going to say something. If we go through the history of even this show in my life, I've never been able to stay quiet. Stanley says, "Hey, Tim, do you think Shedeur Sanders will beat out Dylan Gabriel for the Browns starting job?" Dylan Gabriel, outside of Will Howard, had one of the worst combines I had ever seen. I liked Dylan Gabriel until he got hurt at UCF, and I thought he was going to destroy all Dante Culpepper's records at UCF, and maybe he did. I don't remember because then he transferred out, went to Oregon. But then Oregon produces quarterbacks now because to OG Knockout's point, you got Bo Nix and now Dylan Gabriel. It's kind of weird. Then you think it's also quarterback schools. You think of Texas Tech, but they never, outside of Patrick Mahomes, they never really produced a quarterback that was really worth anything. So, I mean, it's an interesting question. OG says Jackson Dart is more like Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts coming out of college, not in the present day. It's funny. Jackson Dart is more, in my mind, like Jalen Hurts. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hyatt, what is he? He's going to be unemployed if he doesn't learn how to catch, if he doesn't learn how to get off the ball. The problem with Jalen Hyatt is this, and I keep saying this. I thought I was okay if they took him in the first round because I thought he was going to be a prolific wide receiver. Boy, I got that shit wrong. Took him in the third round. I was even more static but I did not think Jalen Hyatt's biggest issue in my mind is not catching the ball. He's got a terrible catch percentage, but it's getting off the line. And I said I thought he was going to be like a Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith does not use his size. He uses his speed and his quickness to get around bigger defenders, to get into stride, to get into his route. Jalen Hyatt gets knocked off his route a lot. And once you get knocked off your route, it's difficult to get back into your route. Now, listen, there was a quarterback that never looked his way because there were times that we would see Jalen Hyatt running down the field wide open. And then then someone would go to the fucking check down. So we have to wait and see what happens. Hey, Tim, how could I watch the interview between you and Carl Banks? There was no interview. I was on the Believe Network, which Carl Banks, Bob Pop, and Online Big Blue are all part of. Thank you. It makes me. That was a word of encouragement from my loving wife. The Believe Network, they did a Twitter space yesterday on the Believe Network. And I'm also on the Believe Network now, if you don't know that. And I guess some people bugged Carl Banks about having me come on the show because people are like, we'll never have Tim on. And Carl Banks, reached out to me on Twitter and said, hey, would you like to come on? And I said, sure. I said, I'd love to come on. And I only asked one question because it was only an hour long, and I didn't want to be this person that monopolizes anything, because you know me, I'll talk forever. I was supposed to be off at 12, and I'm still running my mouth, and I got shit to do. But I didn't want to monopolize anything, and I just kind of was just laying in the weeds. And actually, Carl Banks is the one that said, "Hey, I want to hear Online Big Blue's perspective." So then he kind of made me come on. Didn't make me come. I would have came on anyways, but. And I just asked a couple questions, and that was that. It was very nice, very cordial, very, very, very. And like I said, I was very surprised in the space. I don't do Twitter Spaces because you see all the ones that run a lot, and a lot of them are just toxic, and a lot of them are just people that want to yell, and some of it's not true football knowledge. And I give Bob Papa credit yesterday because certain things were said. I'm not going to say whom was saying by whom or what was said by whom that weren't true football facts. And even Bob Papa said to these people, and I was very impressed by that, you're wrong. What you're talking about statistically or what you're talking about this is not correct. So I thought that was great, and I've never had an issue with either one of them, except Bob Papa thinks I'm someone that I'm not. We go back to the Daniel Jones Broadway show where I got booed for asking a question, and him saying that I was someone else and I wasn't. But like I said, it was a great conversation, and I give both of those gentlemen credit because it wasn't this rah everything is awesome type space. It was a intelligent conversation about the Giants, and they even mentioned things that could go wrong, and how things by November could be totally different in a bad way than we hope they're going to be. And I've criticized Carl Banks once or twice before for saying something like the Giants are officially broken on one of his broadcasts and then kind of walking it back a little bit. But I was more impressed with both of the gentlemen yesterday in regards to the fact how they spoke about giving everyone time and giving everyone a moment to breathe, such as Jackson Dart, Abdul Carter, everyone else. And then let's figure this out once we get into training camp. So as two guys that are the voice or the announcers of the Giants, for them to have an even-keeled perspective, which like I said, because I don't go on the Twitter Spaces, to have this even-keeled perspective, I thought that was great. I thought it was a great hour. And like I said, if Carl Banks is willing to come on and wants to come on, I'm down 100% for that, because I have a lot of questions for Carl Banks. Question number one, and I'll give you a preview for Carl Banks, is how awesome is it to be on the show with me? And it's one of those other things that I've told this story before. Carl Banks is one of my all-time favorite Giants outside of Phil Simms, because I met Carl Banks in '87. And you got to remember, you used to play this, you still do. You played this '86 season Super Bowl in January of '87. I met him it wasn't in Pasadena, but I met him at the hotel because I went to the game and I was on my way to Australia with my father, because my father had to go to Australia for like 2 weeks, and he actually took me out of school, and I was able to go with him. And so my father also, I've told the story millions of times before. I mean, I grew up in the Meadowlands. And, I spent years running around the Meadowlands, and my father knew Wellington Mara, and because they did business together. So, I was always around the Giants in some capacity, even when I was like a teen. I was like 11, 12 years old. So I actually met him in the lobby of the hotel, and I still have the autograph. And it was funny though, because this is when I was playing in high school. I think it was a sophomore, and I asked him for advice, about playing, because I was a safety that was sometimes a quasi linebacker, and I asked him for advice, and he's never going to remember this, but it's a memory that I have. And I asked him for advice about being, in that position. And literally, he took 3-4 minutes and gave me what advice that I still use and give today to people. in reference to keeping your head on the swivel, making sure that when you tackle, you lead with your shoulder, you keep your head up, and and you look for contact. Like I said, it was a great conversation I had to always remember as a kid. So just having the opportunity to be a part of the thing was fantastic. And like I said, I thought it was a good space. I thought it was an intelligent space. If you go on some of these that are during the week, they kind of go down this people say that we're negative. They kind of go down this rabbit hole. You're just kind of like, where is this going? Where is this coming from? But like I said, if they did it again and they talked about doing it again, I'd love to go back on and do it because I got a bunch of questions. I literally have a sheet of questions for Carl Banks, and one of them, like I said, was going to be Wan'Dale Robinson. Can Wan'Dale Robinson be Darren Sproles? Oh, let's see here. What else we got? Stanley says, hey, Tim, Russell Wilson, the quarterback, do you think Jalen Hyatt will have a breakout year? Jalen Hyatt, identity is buffering. I love that. Jalen Hyatt has to get off the line. He can be the greatest thing there is. He's got to get off the line. Oh, and to the point, I missed it, Kevin. They didn't record it. They did not record it. I got to go back to this comment real quick, Kevin. They didn't record it. The one time somebody says something fucking nice about me, they didn't record it. Did it really happen? Or was it a dream? Think about that one. Jalen Hyatt's got to get off the fucking line. You got to get off the line. You got to get off in stride, and you got to get into your route. That's what he has to do more consistently. Tim, what's Tim with the small catch radius? Let's get him to return. I don't understand why he doesn't return punts either. Why not? I would have him return punts. Giant identity is buffering. Buffering like a video. I love the buffering. Yo, what's up, Jester? What's up? For the realness, here for the realness. What's your oldest jersey? My oldest jersey is Craig Morton. Told this story a million times. Craig Morton, one of the worst quarterbacks in Giant history. Number 15. My grandmother for Christmas. And back then they didn't have the names on the back of the jersey. They just had the numbers back in the 70s. My grandmother got me a Craig Morton jersey for Christmas, and I cried. I literally fucking cried. I still have it. Never wore it. I still have it. It's almost like I want to put it in a container that says, a glass container says break in a case of emergencies. That's kind of what I want. That's kind of what I want to do. But Craig Morton is. I had a Collins and a Dane. Wait, so you're not as old as I am. But I'm trying to see also. I still have a I also just got hold on. Also just got a David Wilson jersey. I got a lot of signed jerseys too. So it's a David Wilson. David Wilson actually signed that jersey for me. So I appreciate. Sometimes you send people things and you sign them, so they find them. So I got a lot of signed jerseys. I wish one day, because they're all just hanging on a rack. One day I want to get those shadow box cases and just put all the jerseys in my modern cave. But there's something, I don't know if the 7-foot real life Bigfoot will allow me to do that. Let's see. The Tim I got an Hakeem Nicks Super Bowl jersey, one blue, one white. Which one being serious? I prefer the blue jerseys. That's just me. Nice says I'm sure you guys have a great conversation. I still see Banks with a cast in my head. What a warrior! Yeah, everyone got to remember that. So here he just responded. He just put up another post, but here's what he says. When someone posted, is there any chance that Carl Bob will make an appearance online Big Two live stream? Love to hear the three of you together. Carl Banks that can and will happen at some point in time when the preseason starts. If he's willing to have me on, I've already responded saying you are more than welcome to come on. We just got to pick a date. Let's see here. Stanley says, hey, Tim, if the Knicks go to the NBA Finals, is the OKC or Minnesota give them the best chance to win the championship? Golden State or Denver will be a difficult matchup. Here's the problem with the Knicks. I don't care who the opponent is. This team was literally built for the playoffs. This team with Bridges and OG Anunoby and everything and going out and get Karl Anthony Towns was built to beat Boston. They didn't show it in the preseason. They didn't show it in the regular season, but they were built to beat Boston. They were built to run 7 deep in the playoffs. I don't care who the opponent is. This team is built for the NBA playoffs. OGR Sports says, I loved last night's chat. What's up, OGR? Oh, what's good? Chilling, watching Tim, keeping up with jersey. I have an Odell Beckham jersey. I also have an Odell picture of the catch. Where's that at? Hold on. Yeah, where's that? This is how you go over here. Right there in the corner, there is the Odell picture of the catch. Also, right next to that is the skull cap, which was given to me. I don't know. Yeah, that was the skull cap that was given to me by Jason Pierre-Paul his last game as a Giant. We were, oops, I'm going the wrong way. Don't mind me. We were actually on the sidelines that day, and I was yelling at Jason Pierre-Paul all day long because, like I said, I knew it kind of was his last game, and Jason Pierre-Paul was one of my favorite players. So we were literally yelling at him, and I have to give him all the credit in the world. He came over at the end of the game and handed me the skull cap. So I have that, and those other things next in the shadow box are actually pictures of him handing me the skull cap. My oldest jersey worn out by Tiki Barber and Shocky have those too. Jesse Armstead, that's a good one. My oldest jersey is the Odell Beckham jersey. Oh, that's great. I have one of those too. Tim Stanley says, "Hey Tim, Brian Daboll hasn't used Jalen High in the slot or used him or end around or jet sweeps. He hasn't." Because I think he's trying to make him. A number 2 receiver. Razzle Great says, "I threw away all my Giants gear after the Odell trade. Dan the man, what's up, Dan? I don't know how long. If my effing Nuggets go up 2-1, let's see it happen." Razzle the Great also says, "I hate this front office ever since. Have to find anyone I want to get to be behind. Love Saquon, but they let him walk too. So F this version of the Giants." Razzle the Great also says, "Smash that like button." All right, guys, I stayed on way too long. I actually have to go do some things. I really do appreciate everyone hanging in. We got a great following right now. The X space is blowing up. So I really do want to appreciate everyone that's been listening here on X as well. I also want to thank everyone that's been listening to the Believe Network. Believe Network has been a lot of fun, and if you haven't, we signed a deal with Believe, I think last week, so you can go. The podcast is still everywhere else. It's still on iTunes, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify. It's just now we're part of the Believe. We're just now part of the Believe family. So I want to give a big shout out to Believe because that's it's a great opportunity to keep opening doors so we can provide you guys with the best content available and possible. And I'm hoping, and like I said, we're all a family here, guys. We're all family here. That especially people that have been around since the beginning. I'm hoping this leads into a better opportunity to get more detailed Giant information, maybe to have some Giant players on or something like that, so we can literally get real answers. So let's give a big shout out to Believe. Jay Fed says, "I have an old Shocky jersey. I left it out the old girlfriend's place, so she may still have it." Jay Fed, go get that back. I got a Shocky jersey, and I love it because back in the day, before they did the stitch-on jerseys, it was a Shocky one. They had it that it's I don't know what the hell that shit is called, where it's like glued on. Like here, oh wait, okay. There's a difference. Okay, this is actually a game worn. Yes, I have jerseys laying all over the place. That this is actually a game worn jersey from the Giants back in the early 90s. It's the 75th anniversary. This is a game worn jersey. So the old jerseys always have this, like, it's not the stitching, it's that weird whatever material. I have all these other jerseys that are like that, like my Osi Umenyiora and my Shocky jersey, that if you wash it wrong and you don't turn it inside out, that shit comes off. So I got those jerseys as well. OG Knockout with a thumbs up. Way to keep the door open, J Fed. I also have my Phil Simms jersey. Can't find it. I got my Phil Simms jersey over there. I got one of the original 84 Phil Simms jersey. Again, back in the day, they didn't have the names on the jerseys. They just had the jersey. You just had the numbers. So I have all that shit too. Oh, I don't know, guys. It's one of those things. I know I have things to do and I'm procrastinating. I'm procrastinating to go do it, but I'm out of water. So let's see here. Let's close this out. What does Dan the Man say? The starter jerseys are the most comfortable. Yeah, they changed. I don't know why we're talking about jersey, but yeah, they did change the jerseys. I don't understand that. I really don't get that. Let's just get it done, Tim. Yeah, let's win. Let's just win. OGR Sports and all these people are liking the rookie minicamp update. Oh, there I am. I'm gonna wave. I'm seeing myself on X. I'm gonna wave to myself. Hi. What's up, Tim? It's little things. Was Phil Simms good? Yes, Phil Simms should be in the Hall of Fame. People forget when Phil Simms retired, kind of forced retired by the Giants because he tore the thing in his shoulder. And Dan Reeves, Phil Simms just came off a Pro Bowl season that came off of the Giant playoff season. He tore the thing that starts with an L in the shoulder. I can't remember what that's called. And the Giants released him. And when at his time is released, he had 33,000 yards, 199 touchdowns. Technically, has 2 Super Bowl rings. As a Super Bowl MVP, had a Pro Bowl MVP. He only went to the Pro Bowl, I think, 3-4 times. But when he retired with his 33,000 yards, 199 touchdowns, he was still in the top 15 in touchdown passes, completions, total yards. And people forget about this with Phil Simms. He was in the top 15 of all these categories when he left. And the injuries from 79 and 83 is what really derailed his career. And that's why when people used to compare him to Daniel Jones' career, I'm like, no, Phil Simms in 79 was the runner-up to the Offensive Rookie of the Year to O.J. Anderson. In 81, Phil Simms was leading the Giants into the playoffs when he got hurt again, and it wasn't until the magical run with Scott Bruner and Joe Danello did they get into the playoffs. And then 82, he got hurt again in the strike. 83, 3-12-1. Parcells talks about it all the time. He should never started Bruner over Simms. And then when Simms got into the game on his 13th pass, he broke his thumb on the Eagle helmet. And he wasn't until 84 that he turned everything around, had the first 4,000-yard season ever by a Giant quarterback, 22 touchdowns, led the Giants to a playoff win in that team. And then he built into that to the 85, 86, and onto the 90 season when he was leading the team into this playoffs when he got that injury. So Phil Simms is a guy that's got 2 Super Bowl rings, was in the top 15, the top 20 on every single passing category when he retired. It's just he played in the era of the likes of Joe Montana. And he played in that 80s era where you had all these great Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And I don't ever think Phil Simms gets the true accolades that he deserves. He got it when the Giants retired number 11, but I don't think he gets the true accolades that he deserves in reference to being how good he was as a quarterback. That's just my opinion, though. Phil Simms, like I said, I got the Phil Simms full-size autographed helmet over there. So you never said anything bad about me and Phil Simms. He struggled backyard, but he proved himself, won a Super Bowl MVP, and a record of 22-25, and no one has broken that Super Bowl record yet. I've never seen him play, but I've seen Eli and Jones play for the G-Men. Well, at least you got Eli. Phil Simms was this gritty. The 80s and the 90s were a gritty time in the NFL. And it was a time in the NFL where you had a lot of flash. You go to the West Coast offense with Bill Walsh. You got the style, the play of the Redskins were running, outside of John Reagan's, but they still had this prolific passing attack, and they were able to, block in different quarterbacks, going from Joe Theismann to Jay Schrader to Rippon to all these other guys, and still have the ability to win. And Phil Simms, like I said, I think he just got lost. I think that's the best way to put it. Phil Simms got lost in the era. He got lost in the era of the 80s of Hall of Fame quarterbacks that won more Super Bowls that he did. But as a prolific passer for the Giants, he retired outside of almost every single Giant passing record. And like I said, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings for it. Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer to me. Just snubbed the Hall of Fame once again. Yeah, he is. Eli Manning should have been Hall of Fame. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? I thought he was, but what the hell do I know? The hell do I know? I run a dumb show on YouTube. I don't know much. Guys, I think we're done. I got to run out. We're kind of doing I'm kind of doing a pre-Mother's Day thing for the missus. So I got to go take care of something, but I got to walk the dogs. We got to be somewhere at 4. Of course, the NBA makes it a freaking 3:30 start for the Knicks. Really? You couldn't make it. You couldn't put the Knicks in prime time on a Saturday. I understand there's a West Coast game, but that couldn't have just been the game of the week. Oh, I want to thank everyone that's been hanging out here for, holy shit, for 2 hours and 30 minutes. We're going to have some videos coming up next week. One of them actually is going to be all about what is the Giants' identity. That is going to be a partner video with Southern New Hampshire University. If you're looking for a sports management degree, they got it now. Don't just luck into a job like I did. Go get the degree. Go do all that stuff. We're gonna talk about that, but that's gonna be on Monday or Tuesday. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We will have our regularly scheduled Monday live stream. No live stream on Sunday because it is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. They dealt with us. So they deserve one day. So my wife should be anointed into sainthood because she's got to put up with me and the kids. So we can give them all one day. Hopefully, like I said, we'll see some more stuff going on with the Giants, and I appreciate everyone hanging in. We are gonna clock out now, guys. Thanks everyone for hanging out, staying there. This is Tim, the New York Giants Straight Talk, and as always, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to do all that fun stuff. Follow me also on the Believe Network, and I am out of here, guys. Appreciate you all. Have yourself a good and safe weekend. Peace.